Hey guys, tonight we're drifting into the ultimate bedtime history of Greek mythology, where the gods aren't just powerful, they're terrified of their own family drama, kinda like those wild tales from colonial America, where settlers faced endless voids of uncertainty. Picture this in the beginning. There was nothing but chaos, a yawning black hole of emptiness that could swallow souls whole, even the immortals who came later. Shocking fact, did you know this void wasn't wild disorder like we think, but a creepy, silent nothing so absolute it birthed the force of love itself. Eros, like some absurd cosmic dating app gone wrong. Ever wonder why gods, who live forever, dreaded betrayal from their kids more than anything? It's the kind of twist that makes you question if your own family holidays feel tame by comparison. In this bedtime history, we'll uncover how that emptiness sparked creation, but with a dark irony, power-hungry dads like Uranus, locking away their monstrous kids, mirroring the harsh survival vibes of early American frontiers, where folks hid fears in the untamed wilderness. What if that void is whispering to you right now, teasing secrets of resilience amid the horror? Drop a comment, would you dare face a family curse like the gods did? So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. Let me know where you're watching from and what time it is where you are. I love seeing how far this sleepy little time machine reaches. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. As you settle in for this bedtime history, imagine yourself as a wandering soul, drifting into that endless chaos. Feel the chill seep through your skin, a cold, textureless void like the icy fog of a New England winter night, swallowing every sound and warmth. Your breath slows, inhale deeply. That's the first whisper of destiny's rhythm. Suddenly, faint stirrings emerge, Gaia, the Earth Mother, rising from the nothing, her soil damp and earthy smelling, heavy with the promise of life yet burdened by isolation. But discomfort lingers, an ironic twist in the air. How can creation start from such a terrifying blank slate, like staring into the abyss of an unexplored American wild, as that void clings to you like a heavy fog, pulling at the edges of your mind with its endless, suffocating nothing? Something stirs deep within it, faint at first, like the first cracks of dawn after a long, lonely night on the frontier. You're still that wandering soul, adrift in this bedtime history dream, but now the discomfort eases just a touch as the first forms emerge from the chaos. Breathe in slowly with me. Feel that rhythm of destiny's breath, a gentle inhale that pushes back against the swallowing darkness. It's ironic, isn't it, this terrifying emptiness, so absolute it could erase even the mightiest beings to come, decides to cough up life anyway, like the Dust Bowl back in the Great Depression, where barren lands that seemed doomed suddenly yielded a stubborn sprout of hope amid the choking dust. From the heart of that yawning abyss, Gaia rises, the vast earth herself, unyielding and ancient. You can almost touch her now, your ethereal fingers brushing against the cool, loamy texture of her soil, damp and fertile yet heavy with the weight of isolation. The smell hits you next, rich, earthy, like fresh-turned dirt after a Midwest rain, but laced with a musty undertone of neglect, the kind that clings to your nostrils and makes your chest tighten. She's not just dirt and rock, she's the foundation, patient and enduring, birthing the world from her own body in an act of raw, ironic creation. Discomfort lingers in the air, that prickly sense of vulnerability. How does something so solid start from absolute zilch? It's like those early American settlers staring at endless prairies, wondering if the land would ever give back what they poured into it. Gaia doesn't stop there. From her vast form, she brings forth Uranus, the starry sky, her son and lover in one twisted cosmic package. Imagine it. He arches over her like a domed canopy, stretching wide and infinite, his texture smooth and starry, cool to the ethereal touch, sparkling with distant lights that flicker like campfires on a Depression-era migration trail. The irony bites deeper here. Uranus, meant to protect and embrace, ends up smothering, his vastness pressing down like an overbearing force that traps rather than shelters. You feel a twinge of unease in your soul, that internal churn of discomfort, as if you're witnessing a family dynamic gone wrong from the start. much like the strained households during the economic crash, where dads ruled the roost but crushed the dreams beneath. But Gaia's fertility keeps pushing forward, undeterred. She births the mountains, tall and rugged, their rocky surfaces rough and unyielding under your wandering gaze, evoking the jagged peaks of the Appalachians that immigrants crossed in search of promise. Then comes Pontus, the sea, surging with a wild will of its own, its texture wavy and salty, crashing against invisible shores with a roar that vibrates through you, carrying the briny scent of ocean spray mixed with something primal, untamed, like the Atlantic waves that brought waves of hope and hardship to America's shores. From the union of earth and sky, the Titans emerge, 12 elemental giants, Oceanus the encircling river, flowing endlessly like the Mississippian flood, Hyperion, Lord of Light, glowing with a warmth that contrasts the chill void, Coeus the Inquirer, sharp-eyed and probing, Creus the constellation bearer, mapping stars like frontier navigators, Iapetus, ancestor of men, bridging divine and human in an ironic twist of fate, and Cronus, the youngest, cunning as a fox in a henhouse. Among the daughters, Thea shines as mother of sun and moon, her glow soft yet piercing. Rhea, with her gentle strength, foreshadowing pains to come. Themis, embodiment of divine law, standing firm like the Constitution's framers amid chaos. Mnemosyne, memory of all things, whispering forgotten tales. Phoebe, the radiant one, illuminating paths, and Tethys, the nourishing sea, cradling life in her watery embrace. Historical debate creeps in here, doesn't it? Some scholars argue the Titans symbolize conquered tribes, much like Native American nations pushed aside by European settlers, powerful originals overwritten by newcomers, an irony that makes you pause and reflect on history's cycles. Tidbit absurd Nyx, the night, arrives clothed in shadows so thick even chaos recoiled, like a blackout curtain on a Wild West saloon that hides more monsters than it reveals. And from Night and her consort Erebus, the darkness of the underworld, come ether, the pure upper air that gods would breathe, light and crisp like mountain air at dawn, and Himera, the day, fated to chase her mother endlessly across the sky, her pursuit a visual dance of light breaking through gloom, textures shifting from velvety black to golden haze, smells fading from musty void to fresh ozone. You sense the irony building in your core, that discomfort of endless chase, like the perpetual grind of depression families migrating for work, always one step behind stability. Breathe with destiny's rhythm again, soul inhale the earthy promise of Gaia, exhale the swallowing shadows. As the world takes shape under this starry dome, the discomfort softens into a wry empathy, wondering how such fragile beginnings could forge empires, or unravel them. As the starry dome of Uranus settles over Gaia like a too-tight blanket on a restless night, you feel that wry empathy deepening into something more tangible, a subtle discomfort bubbling up as the world expands in ways both wondrous and foreboding. Keep breathing with me, that steady rhythm of destiny's breath in through the nose, out slow and easy, letting it ground you in this bedtime history dream. It's all coming together now, your wandering soul hovering amid the growing forms. But the irony sharpens. What starts as fertile promise quickly sours into hidden horrors, much like the untamed frontiers of early America, where vast open lands hid dangers that could swallow pioneers whole. Gaia's womb isn't done yet. She's patient. Yeah. But her births get wilder, more monstrous, echoing the raw, unpredictable surges of life on the American plains during those pioneer days. From her body spring the Titan's siblings beings of sheer dread and power that make your ethereal form shiver. First, the Cyclops Brontes, Steropes, and Arges, each with a single eye blazing like a forge in the dead of night, their skin rough and scarred, textured like hammered metal fresh from the flames. You catch a whiff of their heat, smoky, acrid, like a blacksmith's shop on a frontier homestead, where the clang of tools rings out against the howling wind. These guys are lightning smiths, strong and straightforward, fearing no one but Uranus. He trembles at their raw might, that one glowing eye piercing through the dark like a lantern in a storm-swept cabin. Then come the hecatonkaias, the 100-handed ones Briareos, Cottus, and Gyges enormous, terrifying. With 50 heads apiece and arms flailing like a whirlwind of chaos, their texture is chaotic, all muscle and sinew twisting in impossible ways, and the smell around them is earthy and primal, like sweat-soaked soil after a tornado rips through the Midwest. Tidbit absurd. These multitasking behemoths could juggle mountains or stir the world's foundations, like some overpowered superhero from a comic book. But Uranus freaks out over their overtime labor potential, locking them away as if they're union troublemakers gone rogue. It's pure irony, isn't it? The very strength meant to build becomes a threat, discomfort settling in your soul like a knot in the gut. How does a father, sky-high and all-powerful, cower from his own kids, mirroring those old Western tales where ranchers feared the monstrous changes brought by settlers and railroads? Historical debate floats in here too. Adding that layer of thoughtful unease were the Titans and their kin symbols of ancient tribes conquered and buried. Much like Native American nations pushed underground by expanding frontiers, scholars argue it, seeing Gaia groaning under the weight as a metaphor for lands oppressed, her pain vibrating through you, now the deep, rumbling groans echoing like wind howling through desert canyons, a sensory assault that makes your wandering essence ache with empathy. Breathe it out with destiny's rhythm, soul. Let the discomfort twist into understanding, that ironic pang of how creation's joy flips to suppression so fast. Visualize it vividly. Mountains erupt from Gaia's flanks, jagged and unyielding, their rocky textures scraping against the sky like the craggy Rockies that trapped early explorers in their folds. Pontus, the sea, surges forth independently, his waves crashing with a salty, foamy texture that sprays cool mist on your form, smelling of brine and wild freedom, encircling everything like the endless borders of the American West. But then the union of earth and sky truly unleashes the Titans proper, those 12 colossal figures, each elemental and vast. Oceanus coils like a mighty river, his waters smooth and flowing, textured like silk over stone. Hyperion radiates light, warm and golden, chasing away shadows but not the underlying chill. Chaos probes with inquisitive eyes, sharp as a detective's gaze in a noir film. Creus bears constellations, their starry patterns twinkling like distant frontier campfires. The daughters follow Thea, shining bright as the sun and moon's mom, her glow soft yet intense. Rhea, full of quiet power, hinting at future heartaches. Themis, law's embodiment, standing rigid like a judge in a dusty courtroom. Mnemosyne holds all memories, her presence a whispery veil. Phoebe radiates purity, Tethys nourishes with sea's embrace. Modern comparison hits home. Think of the Great Migration families during the Depression, birthing new generations amid hardship, each Titan a symbol of resilience forged in irony's fire. But discomfort creeps back as Uranus seals the monsters deep in Gaia's belly, the earth groaning louder now, that windy howl through canyons intensifying, textures of rock and grief pressing in. You feel it in your core, that empathetic twist Gaia's pain mirroring a mother's silent suffering in tough times, the swallowing darkness of confinement lurking once more. Breathe deep with destiny's rhythm, wandering soul. Inhale the promise of these elemental births, exhale the building shadows. As the Titans stand tall beneath the heavens, the world feels alive. Yet that ironic undercurrent lingers, fragile empires rising from voids that could reclaim them any time. As the Titans rise tall and proud beneath that starry vault, their elemental forms casting long shadows that dance like flickering lantern light on a colonial cabin wall, you can't shake that ironic undercurrent. It's seeping in deeper now, turning the wonder of birth into a gnawing discomfort, like the uneasy alliances forged on disputed lands back in early America, where families fought over every inch of soil. Breathe with destiny's rhythm, soul, in and out, slow and steady. But even that breath feels heavier, laced with the scent of impending storm. The world is shaping up, alive and humming, yet fragility hangs in the air, a subtle threat that those very creations could be the Empire's undoing. It's also human, isn't it? Gods playing at family, But with stakes higher than any frontier dispute, Uranus, the Sky Father, arches over Gaia with what should be protective embrace. But you sense the shift the way his vast, starry texture presses down, smooth yet suffocating, like a heavy quilt on a sweltering summer night in the colonies, trapping heat and secrets alike. The irony stings this consort born from her own body, now becomes her jailer, his jealousy blooming like weeds in untended fields. Discomfort coils in your wandering essence, a tight knot in the chest, as you hover closer, feeling the earth's subtle tremors underfoot. Rough, gritty soil vibrating with suppressed rage. Uranus looks upon the monstrous offspring with revulsion. Not awe. Those cyclopes with their forge-hot eyes and the hecatonchires with their writhing arms, they're threats to his dominion. Grotesque strengths he can't control. So, in a fit of fearful shame, he thrusts them back into Gaia's womb, sealing them deep within the Earth's core, layers of rock and grief piling on like forgotten deeds in a land deed dispute. Oh, the sensory assault hits you full force now. The air thickens with the metallic tang of imprisoned fury, like the sharp bite of gunpowder from a colonial skirmish over territory, mingling with the damp, cloying smell of buried earth, mouldy, confined, pressing in from all sides. Gaia's groans echo through you, deep and resonant, a rumbling that vibrates your form like thunder rolling over disputed prairies, her texture shifting from fertile softness to hardened crust under the weight. You feel it internally, that wave of discomfort washing over, an empathetic ache for the mother betrayed by her own creation. Ironic, how the sky that once stretched freely now crushes the ground it loves, much like those early American patriarchs who claimed vast lands but choked the life out of their families in the name of legacy. Breathe it out with destiny's rhythm, but the shadows swallow a bit more, that recurring darkness creeping in, reminding you of voids that reclaim what's theirs. Visualize the scene unfolding before your soul's eye, Uranus descending night after night, his starry body a glittering press, texture cool and distant yet oppressively close, smothering Gaia beneath layers of celestial weight, like a roof caving in on a rickety colonial homestead during a squall, beams cracking under the strain. The earth heaves, mountains trembling as if alive with protest, their jagged peaks scraping the sky in futile rebellion. And Gaia, she endures, but not silently. Her pain builds, a slow burn that you taste on the air bitter, like overripe fruit left to rot in a disputed orchard. The irony deepens the discomfort. This first great pair, earth and sky, meant to harmonize, now locked in a toxic dance, her nurturing turning to suffering, his dominion to tyranny. But Gaia, ever the resilient matriarch like those colonial women who schemed in the shadows of patriarchal rule to protect their own, begins to plot. From her own flesh, she fashions a weapon, not of fancy metals yet undreamed, but a sickle of unyielding flint, jagged edges sharp as broken promises, textured rough and primitive, like a handmade tool from a frontier forge. Tidbit absurd. This DIY blade, born from stone alone, no fancy tech needed, it's the original Swiss Army knife of vengeance, cutting through cosmic ties without a single import from overseas. You catch the scent of fresh chipped rock, dusty and sharp, as she approaches her Titan sons, laying bare her torment in whispers that echo like wind through cracked cabin walls. One by one, they turn away, fear of their father's might rooting them like stubborn oaks in contested soil. But Cronus, the youngest and shrewdest, steps forward, his eyes watchful, heart patient, like a clever trader in a land grab negotiation. "I'll do it," he says, taking the blade with steady hands. The irony twists harder now, that discomfort blooming into a full-throated unease in your soul. The son who wields the weapon today might fear the same from his own tomorrow, a cycle as endless as American Manifest Destiny's double-edged sword. Modern comparison sneaks in. Think of those colonial betrayals over land. Fathers displaced by ambitious sons, the air thick with the smell of gun smoke and regret. She sets the trap, waiting in the dark as Uranus descends once more, laying across her in oblivious union. From the shadows, Cronus springs swift, unhesitating, the sickle biting deep with a sickening rasp, texture of flint grinding against divine flesh. The sky shakes with Uranus's cry, a thunderous wail that rattles your form, vibrating like the clash of colonial militias over borders. Blood spills, crimson droplets falling to earth and sea, the metallic, warm scent rising sharp and coppery, mingling with the salty brine of waves. Cronus casts the severed parts into the ocean, and from the frothing crimson foam rises something new, beautiful. Terrible Aphrodite, goddess of love, stepping ashore with serene grace, her skin soft and radiant, untouched by the violence, like a pearl emerging from a bloodied oyster. But Gaia's vengeance ripples further. From the earthbound drops spring the Furies, cloaked in vengeful shadow, their textures wispy and chilling, smells of sulphur and wrath. The giants, rising to challenge gods later, and Meliae, ash-tree nymphs guarding wild ways, their bark-rough forms whispering through leaves. Historical debate stirs the discomfort. Is this castration a symbol of matriarchal rebellion against patriarchal overreach, akin to women's roles in colonial uprisings, where mothers arm sons against fathers? You feel the irony in your core, that act of liberation birthing both beauty and horror, the swallowing darkness momentarily pierced by foam's white light, yet promising more shadows. Breathe deep with destiny's rhythm, wandering soul in through the promise of change. Out the echo of cries. Uranus, wounded and dethroned, flees to the heavens, but not before cursing, "As I fall to my son, so shall he to his own." Cronus hears it well, claiming the throne wrapped in power, but fear already gnaws at him like termites in a colonial beam. The age of Titans dawns, the world breathing freer without the sky's crush. Yet that ironic discomfort lingers empires built on blood, fragile as a house of cards in the wind. With the age of Titans dawning like a hesitant sunrise over a Depression-era farmstead, where folks clung to shaky optimism amid the ruins of better days, you feel that ironic discomfort settling in deeper, a quiet gnaw at the edges of your wandering soul, like inheriting a family business riddled with debt, promising glory but whispering downfall. Breathe with destiny's rhythm, in slow and out steady, letting it anchor you in this bedtime history haze. But even that breath carries a hint of foreboding. The air now freer, yet laced with the metallic aftertaste of spilled blood. The world exhales relief as Uranus retreats to the heavens, his once oppressive vault lifting slightly. But the shadows of that curse linger, swallowing pieces of the new dawn, a recurring darkness that tugs at your essence with uncomfortable familiarity. Cronus, the cunning youngest, wraps himself in the throne's power, his form towering and elemental, textured like weathered granite from a Midwestern quarry rough, imposing, yet cracked with hidden fissures. You hover near, sensing the irony twist like a knife in the gut. This liberator, who freed his mother from torment, now rules with a cautious heart, his eyes darting like a shopkeeper during the economic crash, always scanning for the next bust. The sickle he wielded lies hidden, buried in earth or sea, its flint edge a silent reminder of sins past, jagged and cold to the touch if you dared reach out. Tidbit absurd, that blade, once a tool of righteous rebellion, now gathers dust like an old family heirloom in an attic, a cosmic garage sale item no one wants to claim. Modern comparison creeps in, evoking those roaring 20s tycoons who rose on speculation only to crash in 29, their fortunes built on one bold stroke but haunted by the fear of reversal discomfort blooming in you, that internal churn of watching power corrupt its wielder before your eyes. The world breathes anew under Titan rule, the sky no longer crushing Gaia so tightly, her groans fading to soft sighs, the soil's texture loosening from packed clay to loamy give, smelling of fresh rain on parched ground like after a dust bowl storm breaks. But Cronus's suspicion festers. The prophecy from his dying father echoes like a second heartbeat in his chest, a relentless drum that you feel pulsing through the ether, thump thump, inevitable as the stock market tickers that doomed so many in the Depression. He takes a wife, as kings must, choosing his sister Rhea, a titaness of gentle strength and deep wisdom, her presence warm and enveloping, textured like soft wool from a frontier loom, scented with wild herbs and quiet resolve. Yet her name will forever whisper alongside sorrow, an ironic pairing that stirs unease in your soul. How does love bloom in the shadow of dread? Much like couples in hard times marrying for stability but fearing the lean years ahead, they rule through what poets later call a golden age, a time when early mortals newly shaped live in peace, untouched by winter's bite or war's clamour, fruits ripening without toil, like idealized farms in American folklore where the land gives freely. No armies march, no walls rise. Justice flows unseen like a hidden spring. Doors left unlocked in trusting hamlets. Visual moments paint it vividly. Fields golden under Hyperion's light, textures of ripe grain brushing against the wind, rivers from Oceanus flowing smooth and inviting, their cool, silky currents inviting a dip, stars from Creus twinkling like fireflies over a depression campfire, stories shared without fear. But irony underscores it all that peace is fragile, built on swallowed fears, discomfort simmering as you sense the underbelly Cronus's cautious rule. Suspicious glances at every shadow, the swallowing darkness of his internal curse threatening to eclipse the glow. Rhea begins to bear children, and with each birth, the prophecy claws back first Hestia, the hearth's gentle flame, then Demeter, grain's nurturing soul, Hera, proud and sharp-eyed, Hades, lord of the dead, Poseidon, master of depths, as she places them in his arms. Cronus hesitates not. He opens wide and swallows them whole. No cry escaping. No cradle rocking, just the grim knowledge of safety in his belly, like seeds buried in winter soil. The texture of that act haunts you smooth, final, a gulp that echoes wetly in the air, smelling faintly of bile and regret, like choking down bitter medicine during a flu epidemic. Discomfort surges now, a wave of empathetic revulsion in your core. How does a father, fresh from rebellion, become the monster he overthrew? It's the ultimate irony, mirroring those depression dads who sacrificed dreams for security, hiding away futures in vaults of fear, only to poison the well they drank from. He tells Rhea it's necessary, that the throne demands it no fate like Uranus's for him. She weeps, proud yet powerless, tears tracing salty paths down her cheeks, their warmth contrasting the cold finality. 5 times she births, 5 times she loses, the air growing heavier with unspoken grief, textured like dampened earth after tears soak in. Historical debate whispers through the discomfort. Is Cronus's curse a metaphor for economic cycles in America, where booms swallow recession's warnings, only to regurgitate crisis later like the '29 crash echoing through generations? You feel it internally, that ironic pang twisting into full unease, the swallowing darkness of his belly a motif that pulls at you, evoking family secrets buried deep in colonial lore, where inheritances came laced with vendettas. But the 6th time, Rhea resolves to act fleeing to Crete's rugged isles, where mountains kiss the sky and caves yawn like welcoming mouths. Hidden among shepherds and nymphs, she births Zeus, his cry shaking trees, eyes opening before his first breath, tiny fingers gripping with fate's strength to deceive. She wraps a stone in swaddling, presenting it trembling. Cronus swallows greedily, danger passed in his mind, tidbit absurd. That rock, a simple lump of earth, fools the Titan King like a Depression-era counterfeit bill passing for real cash in desperate times. Absurd how the mighty can be duped by the mundane. Sensory struggle grips you, the island's air crisp with pine and salt, textured by goat's wool from Amalthea, who nurses him, her milk warm and nourishing, but undercut by the distant rumble of Cronus's belly, a low thunder that sends shivers across your form. Beneath Mount Ida, Zeus grows in secret, guarded by Curetes dancing with clashing shields to drown his cries, their metallic clang vibrating like frontier drums. Modern comparison. Rhea's defiance echoes single mums in the Dust Bowl, smuggling hope through hardship, her empathy a beacon amid irony's fog. Visual moments unfold. Caves dim and echoing, textures of mossy stone cool against the chill. Amalthea's horn breaking to form the cornucopia, golden bounty spilling like unexpected windfall. Zeus's eyes, storm bright, gazing at stars that whisper rebellion. The discomfort eases slightly into empathetic resolve, but the irony remains peace on the surface. Storm brewing within, the swallowing shadows of fate coiling tighter. Breathe deep with destiny's rhythm. Wandering soul, Inhale the fresh Cretan breeze, exhale the gnawing fear. As Zeus watches the stars and waits, the Titan age holds, oblivious to the wind gathering, but you sense it, that fragile empire teetering, discomfort laced with the promise of upheaval. As Zeus's tiny form gazes up at those whispering stars from his hidden Cretan cradle, the fragile empire of the Titans teeters on that edge you sense so keenly. Wandering soul, a precarious balance that stirs a fresh wave of discomfort in your ethereal core, like the uneasy quiet before a Dust Bowl dust storm rolls in, promising change but delivering only more hardship. Breathe with destiny's rhythm, in through the nose for that grounding pine-scented air of the island, out slow to release the building tension. But even now the irony clings like morning dew on a frontier fence. Peace reigns above, yet below, in the belly of the beast. 5 siblings stir in the dark, their muffled movements a harbinger of the upheaval to come. It's also achingly human, this Titan-tale rulers clinging to thrones while the foundations crack, much like those Depression-era families who buried their hopes deep to shield them from the bank's grasp, only to watch the soil dry up anyway. Rhea, that Titaness of quiet strength, feels the weight of it all pressing on her like an invisible yoke. Her form soft and resilient, textured like woven wool from a shepherd's loom, scented with the wild thyme and olive groves of Crete. But her resolve hardens with the 6th pregnancy, a secret stirring in her womb that she guards fiercely, fleeing further into the island's rugged heart caves that yawn dark and cool, their stone walls slick with moisture, echoing with the distant crash of waves like the relentless tide of economic woes washing over American heartlands. Discomfort twists in you again, that empathetic irony of a mother's love clashing against a father's fear, evoking those single moms in the 1930s who smuggled kids through bread lines, whispering promises of better days while hunger gnawed at the door. Historical debate lingers in the air here. Was Rhea's defiance a nod to emerging matriarchal undercurrents in ancient myths, akin to the quiet rebellions of women during the Great Migration, who navigated patriarchal systems with cunning and care? She births Zeus in secrecy, amid the shepherds and nymphs who cluster like protective kin in a tight-knit Appalachian hollow, his cry piercing the night like a sudden gust through canyon walls sharp, vital, shaking the olive leaves overhead. You feel it vibrate through your soul, that raw texture of new life, warm and pulsing, smelling of fresh milk and earthy cave dampness, but undercut by the urgent hush that follows. His eyes snap open before his first full breath, holding her finger with a grip like fate itself, tiny yet unyielding, as if he already knows the shadows waiting, to fool Cronus. Rhea swaddles a stone in soft cloth, its cold, unyielding weight mimicking an infant's form tidbit absurd, this fake baby ruse, a lump of rock passing for royal air, like those bootleg moonshine jars in prohibition cellars disguised as harmless milk bottles, fooling the law but tasting of deceit. The irony bites deep, discomfort flaring in your chest. How does something so simple upend the mighty? A mere deception born of desperation. She presents it with trembling hands, and Cronus, blinded by his gnawing fear, swallows it greedily, the act a grotesque gulp that echoes wetly, texture smooth and final, leaving no trace but the bitter aftertaste of averted doom in his mind. But beneath Mount Ada's folds, Zeus thrives in hiding, nursed by the goat Amalthea, her milk rich and creamy, warm against his skin, flowing from a horn that breaks omen or accident spilling endless bounty. The cornucopia's golden texture gleaming like a depression windfall of canned goods from a relief truck. Sensory struggle washes over you. The milk's sweet, nutty scent mingles with the cave's musty stone. But the distant rumble from Cronus's belly intrudes like thunder on the horizon, a low vibration that tightens your throat, evoking the bitter tang of swallowed fear, as if you're tasting the potion Metis will later brew dark, herbal, laced with cunning wisdom, its viscosity coating the tongue like thick, unforgiving syrup. The curettes guard him, warriors dancing in frenzied circles, their shields clashing with a metallic ring that drowns his cries clang after clang, textured like hammered bronze under frantic hands, the air sharp with sweat and oiled leather, smelling of exertion and secrecy. Visual moments etch into your dream Rhea slipping into the dim Cretan cave, shadows playing on her worried face like lantern light in a speakeasy hideout. Amalthea nuzzling the babe under leafy canopy, her fur soft and warm, milk dripping in pearlescent streams, curettes leaping, shields flashing in torchlight, their movements a blur of muscle and metal against the starry backdrop. Modern comparison stirs the empathy Rhea's protective flight mirrors those depression parents, bundling kids into Model Ts for the long-haul west, hiding from foreclosures, her love a shield against the swallowing darkness of poverty's maw. Ironic how the mighty Titan falls to a mother's ploy, discomfort easing into a poignant ache for that universal parental terror. Yet for now, the Titan age endures on the surface skies high, earth green, throne secure but deep within Cronus. Those 5 children stir, their forms growing full and gleaming in the dim confines, clad in godly strength reborn. Hades broods in shadow. Poseidon commands imagined depths. Hera sharpens her pride. Demeter dreams of fields. Hestia tends an inner flame. The irony swells the discomfort in you, that internal churn of watching potential imprisoned, like seeds locked in a bank vault during hard times, waiting for the right storm to burst free. Breathe with destiny's rhythm. Soul inhale the Cretan night's crisp clarity. Exhale the Titan's oblivious calm. Far to the west, a child in secrecy watches the stars, the wind gathering force, promising a storm that will shatter the fragile peace. As the wind gathers force over that secretive Cretan hideaway, whispering promises of a shattering storm through the olive groves and pine-scented caves, you feel the discomfort intensify in your wandering soul, a prickling irony that coils like smoke from a distant factory chimney's Zeus, the hidden child, growing strong under the stars, while the Titan world above pretends at golden bliss, oblivious to the revolt brewing below. Breathe with destiny's rhythm, in deep and outmeasured, letting the island's crisp night air fill your lungs. But even that freshness carries an undercurrent of tension, like the acrid bite of coal dust in the air during the 19th century labour uprisings, when workers in smoky mills plotted against the bosses who ground them down. It's all too real, this bedtime history unfolding, the fragile peace cracking like a fault line in the American heartland, where one spark could ignite the powder keg of change. Years slip by in your dreamlike drift, and Zeus matures into manhood amid the thin air and rustling leaves of Mount Ida, learning not from scrolls or schools, but from the silence of high peaks and the murmured tales around firelight stories of betrayal and buried power. Textured like the rough bark of ancient pines under your ethereal touch, their resinous smell sharp and evergreen, evoking the wild, untamed forests where American revolutionaries once schemed against the crown. Discomfort stirs anew, that ironic pang of isolation. Here he is, the prophesied upstart, raised far from his father's gaze, drinking the divine milk of Amalthea that gave him superhuman vigour, her broken horn now the cornucopia, spilling endless fruits with a juicy, overflowing texture that contrasts the cave's stark stone walls, but you sense the weight in his bones, that blood-thick prophecy humming like a distant train whistle, pulling him toward rebellion much like those millworkers in the Gilded Age, forging strength in secrecy, their calloused hands gripping tools that would one day topple the industrial giants. Gaia herself stirs now, the great Earth Mother remembering old betrayals, the pain of her imprisoned sons, the Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires chained in Tartarus's depths. Their groans a low rumble you feel vibrating through the ground, like the earth-shaking march of Union strikers in Pittsburgh's steel towns. Her vengeance, delayed, but not forgotten, whispers into Zeus's dreams with words as old as stone, guiding his steps with an unyielding texture, cool and unpolished. The irony twists the discomfort sharper. The grandmother who schemed once before now aids the grandson against her own son. A family tree tangled like the roots of a depression oak, weathered by hard times yet resilient. Historical debate echoes in the ether here. Scholars ponder if this generational revolt mirrors the Industrial Revolution's class wars, where the old guard of factory owners faced the rising tide of labourers, symbols of buried power erupting like steam from overpressured boilers. First, she leads him to Métis, the titaness of wisdom, shrewd and loyal to the future, her presence a soft, intellectual glow, textured like fine-spun thread from a Lowell mill, scented with the subtle herbs of cunning brews. With Metis's aid, Zeus crafts a plan not brute force alone, but sly strategy. For toppling Cronus, lord of time and titans, demands more than muscle. It calls for the sharp edge of intellect. Tidbit absurd. Their scheme involves a potion laced in wine, bittersweet as honeyed poison, a godly laxative that will force the old king to regurgitate his swallowed kin, like a bad batch of bootleg hooch in a speakeasy gone wrong, turning the mighty into a spectacle of heaves and groans. You catch the whiff of it already, that herbal, cloying sweetness masking deeper bitterness, making your soul's throat tighten in empathetic revulsion irony at its cruelest. The devouring father undone by his own gut. Zeus returns in disguise to his father's halls, the air thick with Titan opulence, polished marble floors smooth underfoot, scented with incense from golden braziers, but undercut by the faint musty odour of unspoken dread. With Metis's craft, he offers the potion, thick and viscous, sliding down Cronus's throat like syrup over gravel. The old Titan's gut churns, a shuddering groan escaping as the drink works its magic, vomiting forth the children not as babes, but full-grown gods, gleaming and armoured in reborn strength. First Hestia, hearth's eternal flame flickering warm and inviting, then Demeter, grain's embodiment, her form earthy and bountiful, regal Hera, proud and keen, Hades, shadowed lord, and finally Poseidon, deep's master. They stand united for the first time, eyes locked on the throne that imprisoned them, the texture of their emergence slick and chaotic, smelling of bile and fresh power like workers bursting from a collapsed mineshaft. Dusty and defiant. But Cronus rallies his allies. The Titans gathering at Mount Othrys's peak, that southern stronghold harsh and storm-wrapped, its rocky texture jagged like the Allegheny ridges where labour battles raged. Oceanus stays apart, too wise or weary for feuds, but the others, Coeus, Creus, Hyperion, Iapetus, arm up, their forms colossal and elemental, the air crackling with tension. So begins the Titanomachy, the clash of old and new, tearing heavens and splitting earth, a war that rages 10 years without mercy. Sky darkening with smoke and storm, thunder and fire booming across mountains like the roar of industrial forges gone haywire. Sensory struggle engulfs you. The acrid smell of smoke from volcanic bleeds and lightning strikes, stinging your eyes like factory haze over 19th century Manchester mills transplanted to ancient peaks. Textures of shattered rock grinding under cosmic feet. Visual moments sear into the dream Zeus breaking Tartarus's gates with siblings at his side. Iron bars screeching like rusted chains in a labour camp. Cyclopes, freed and grateful, hammering thunderbolts in their forge, sparks flying hot and metallic, the air shimmering with heat, Hecatan Chires hurling boulders like pebbles, their 100 arms a whirlwind of motion against the Titan onslaught. Modern comparison fuels the irony. This revolt feels like the Haymarket Affair or Pullman strike, underdogs rising against entrenched powers. The discomfort in you a mix of awe and unease watching gods fight like factory hands. The swallowing darkness of old order clashing with the light of change. Breathe with destiny's rhythm, soul. Inhale the charged ozone. Exhale the roar of battle. The world below, young and silent, watches in dread as masters vie for rule. The line between Titan and Olympian blurring in the fray. As the line between Titan and Olympian blurs in the fray, the roar of battle swelling like the thunder of artillery in a World War II blitz across divided lands. You find yourself right in the thick of it, wandering soul wrung by the chaos, that irony of cosmic family feud hitting harder than any mortal war, where victors carve up the world but leave scars that echo for ages. Breathe with destiny's rhythm, in sharp through the ozone-charged air, out ragged to match the fray's frenzy. But the discomfort surges now, a visceral twist in your ethereal gut. These aren't faceless armies, they're kin clashing, the swallowing darkness of old grudges pulling everyone under, much like the Allied forces splitting Europe post-war, promising peace but sowing seeds of cold division that lingered like frost on battlefields. Its peak drama, this Titanomachy, 10 years of unrelenting hell, and you're there, feeling every bolt and wave as if it's your own storm. The battles rage without end. Sky ripping open with Zeus's thunderbolts, crackling explosions that detonate like bombs whistling overhead in a European theatre. The sound a deafening boom right by your ear, vibrations rattling your form to the core, hot shrapnel-like sparks singeing the air with a scorched, electrical tang that burns your nostrils. Tidal waves from Poseidon's early strikes swallow islands whole, their foamy texture crashing cold and salty, smelling of deep-sea brine mixed with uprooted earth, like the Normandy landings where waves claimed more lives than bullets. Volcanoes bleed rivers of fire, lava's viscous, glowing flow textured like molten tar underfoot, its sulphurous reek choking the heavens, while winds howl wolf-like, whipping dust and debris into your face with gritty, stinging force. Visual moments sear the scene, titans hurling boulders from Othrys's heights. Massive rocks tumbling with rumbling impacts that shake the ground like falling shells. Olympians countering with lightning storms. Bolts forking blue-white across blackened skies, the earth splitting. Chasms yawning wide as Tartarus's maw swallowing debris in endless dark. Neither side yields. It's endless. A grind that wears on you. Discomfort peaking in that ironic haze gods. Immortal and mighty. Reduced to desperate brawls over thrones. Echoing the ironic futility of Watuspwu's prolonged fronts, where superpowers bled for territory only to redraw maps in exhaustion. But Gaia watches ever, her ancient wisdom cutting through the din, counseling Zeus once more. Victory demands the buried powers. If he descends to Tartarus and frees the monstrous uncles, the Cyclops and Hecatonchires, whom Cronus chained in fear, he'll tip the scales. With siblings at his side, Zeus breaches the underworld's gates, the iron bars screeching open with a metallic groan, textured cold and unyielding, the air down there fetid with ages-old rot, like the damp trenches of war forgotten in mud. The Cyclopes, grateful and fierce, emerge blinking their single eyes, blazing forges within, heat radiating in waves that dry the sweat on your soul's brow. They gift Zeus the thunderbolt, a jagged masterpiece of lightning-forged metal, its surface crackling with electric texture, humming with power that makes your essence tingle. Poseidon gets the trident, three-pronged and wave-carved, cool and serpentine in grip, evoking the harpoons of naval battles. Hades, the helm of darkness, shadowy and enveloping, its fabric-like veil swallowing light like a blackout curtain over bombed cities. Tidbit absurd. These family reunion gifts from long-lost uncles, thunderbolts as the ultimate shocking present, like handing a kid a live wire for their birthday. Absurd how the chained become the game-changers. The Hecatonchires join last, their 100 arms flailing like a human hurricane, textures of muscle and bone whipping the air, smells of sweat and ancient dust billowing up irony flooding your internal churn, discomfort laced with dark amusement. The monsters Uranus feared now the saviours, much like Wu-Kukti's unlikely allies. Former enemies turning the tide against a common foe. The tide turns fierce, Olympians press with unmatched fury, the Hecatonchires battering titans with mountain tosses, boulders flying like artillery shells, crashing with earth-shaking thuds, dust clouds textured fine and choking, smelling of pulverized stone and blood. Cronus fights to the last, proud and unyielding, his sickle that old flint blade from Gaia's hand swinging in final arcs, its jagged edge whistling through air thick with smoke. But prophecy unfolds merciless. One by one, titans fall, curse crushed under avalanches, Hyperion's light dim by storms, Iapetus bound in chains that clank like factory shackles. Zeus spares no slaughter but imprisonment, hurling them into Tartarus's depths, the abyss yawning wider, its swallowing darkness pulling them down with a vortex suck. Textures of void, cold and infinite. Screams fading into echoes like distant air raid sirens. Only a few escape Prometheus and Epimetheus, who sided with the New Order, their foresight a sly pivot. Themis, who foresaw justice's shift. Visual moments crystallize the peak. Cronus's sickle glinting one last time in desperate swing. Blade catching lightning. Tartarus engulfing titans. Limbs flailing into black maw like soldiers vanishing into foxholes. Olympus emerging unscathed, its peaks sparkling with post-storm dew. marble halls gleaming like victory parades in Times Square. Modern comparison amps the irony. This division feels like the Potsdam Conference. Superpowers drawing lines on maps, sky to Zeus, sea to Poseidon, underworld to Hades, promising balance but birthing rivalries. Discomfort in you a dopamine rush of triumphant unease, sarcasm bubbling. What kind of fair split is that? Like divvying up Europe after the war, handing the Grim Reaper's job to the quiet brother. The three brothers gather, casting lots not bickering or force, but fate's dice, sacred as the Yalta Accords, bones clattering on cosmic stone with a dry rattle that you hear echoing in your soul. Zeus draws the sky, broad heavens and storm's domain, his voice booming in thunderclaps, eagle soaring as herald, Poseidon the sea, restless depths full of monsters, trident shattering cliffs with a resonant crack, his coral palace textured opulent and gilded below waves. Hades gets the underworld, the shadowed land of shades not a prize, but taken with resolve, his realm hidden where sun dares not shine, gems and metals guarding secrets, stern dignity in his unseen helm. Tidbit absurd Hades' lucky draw of the dead zone like pulling the short straw in a poker game among brothers. Zuizio enough to make a gambler in Vegas weep. Absurd how the god of wealth rules the broken buried. The earth remains common, mountains and fields shared, forests wild under no banner, a neutral ground where ambition brews, like post-war neutral zones in divided Germany, irony sharpening the discomfort. Brothers swear no war among themselves, lest the world break anew, but you sense the cracks already, that swallowing darkness of rivalry lurking. Breathe deep with destiny's rhythm, soul. Inhale the clearing, sky's fresh rain-washed scent. Exhale the blood-soaked earth's metallic tang. The throne passes to Zeus by might and fate, the world scarred but healing, sky clearing as Olympus claims its seat. Yet Cronus' curse shadows him. An old song's echo power seized must be guarded, no ruler secure forever. Visual moments cap the climax, lots falling like dice in a high-stakes Dapurwistum's strategy room. Brothers' faces lit by victory's glow, Tartarus's bronze gates slamming shut, eternal clang resounding, Olympus throned in cloud marble, eagle wheeling triumphant. The irony piques your internal rush, discomfort yielding to reflective sarcasm victory's blood washes clean. Hardly, just another layer in the cycle. Dopamine high from the win but laced with the unease of what's next. As the irony piques that internal rush in you, wandering soul, with victory's dopamine high laced by the unease of endless cycles, the clearing skies over Olympus feel almost too pristine, like the fragile calm after a Hollywood blockbuster's explosive finale where the heroes claim the throne. But you know the sequel's shadows are already lurking. Breathe deep with destiny's rhythm, in through the fresh, post-rain mist that carries a clean, ozone-tinged scent, out to release the lingering metallic tang of blood-soaked earth, letting it soothe the discomfort into a tentative empathy. The world heals its scars from the Titanomachy, rubble settling like dust after a big-screen war scene. But now the victors face the real drama, not just ruling, but building a court from the ashes, where family ties twist into golden age glamour laced with backstage betrayals. It's peak emotional high here, this birth of the Olympian era, but the irony bites soft gods ascending to perfection, yet their origins as quirky and dysfunctional as a star-studded family feud in Tinseltown, where egos clash behind the glamour. Zeus, eldest reborn among the gods though not firstborn, stands at the centre, his might and cunning unchallenged, but the old cosmic laws carved into the bones of creation itself don't hand him sole dominion on a platter. You've got Poseidon, who whipped seas to foam in wrath, his trident's prong still dripping with salty residue, textured cool and barnacle-crusted like a fisherman's tool from a New England dock, and Hades, who slipped unseen through battlefields in his helm, his shadowy aura lingering like the chill of a post-war bunker. They've all bled, risked, lost irony flooding your soul with that empathetic discomfort brothers forged in fire, now divvying spoils like GIs splitting Europe after the big win, promising no more war but eyeing each other's turf with quiet suspicion. The throne can't be Zeus's alone, or seeds of sibling rivalry sprout anew. So they gather, casting lots in a sacred rite. Fate's dice tumbling with a soft clatter on marble, guided by whispers like the Yalta talks that redrew the world map. When the bones land, the realms divide into 3. Zeus claims the sky. Broad heavens between stars and peaks, lord of thunder and rain, his voice echoing in claps that rumble through you like distant artillery. Fury blazing in lightning's flash, the eagle his herald soaring high, visual moment 1. The lot scattering like poker chips in a high-roller room, Zeus's face lighting with triumphant spark, thunderbolt humming in his grip, its electric texture buzzing against the air. Poseidon takes the sea, deep and mysterious, oceans, rivers, springs bubbling from earth. His trident shatters cliffs with resonant cracks, stirring tides to rage or calm. Building a coral gold palace beneath waves tidbit absurd his underwater digs, opulent as a submerged Vegas casino, but stocked with ancient sea serpents and leviathans, like inviting sharks to a family reunion. Absurd how the fun uncle rules the monster party. Sensory struggle hits. The brine's sharp, fishy smell wafting up, textures of swirling currents tugging at your form like undertows off California beaches. Discomfort in the irony Poseidon, wave master, now bound to depths he can't escape. Much like Tugthu sailors post-victory, trading open seas for desk jobs that felt like chains. Hades draws the underworld, land of the dead, not the prize anyone wanted, but he accepts with quiet resolve. Ruling shadowed realms with stern dignity, hidden below where sun's warmth dares not reach. Master of shades, judge of souls, guardian of buried wealth, gems glinting cold, metals heavy and unyielding. Men whisper his name in fear, but he upholds the laws without break, balance between life and death his solemn charge. Visual moment 2, Hades donning the helm, shadows enveloping him like a velvet cloak, his palace's stone walls textured rough and echoing, air cool and musty like a wartime vault. The earth, Gaia's flesh, stays common mountains no one's, fields roamed by mortals and spirits, forests wild and untamed, a between-realm where gods walk and ambition simmers, like the demilitarized zones after Korea, neutral but buzzing with tension. Irony deepens the empathetic high brothers swear peace, building thrones and calling followers to Olympus. High above clouds, Zeus summons counsel, sisters at his side, Hera proud as winter ice, Demeter awakening spring with her steps, Hestia burning eternal at every hearth. But the court expands, new gods arriving in strange ways, their births as dramatic as Hollywood origin stories. Think of those golden age films where stars burst onto screens from unlikely backstories, full of glamour and grit. Athena comes first, not from womb but wisdom's forge Zeus, fearing Metis' unborn child would surpass him, swallows her whole tidbit absurd, this parenting fail supreme, gulping down his wise wife like a bad burrito at a drive-thru, only for her to scheme from inside, whispering and crafting in the dark. Historical debate stirs empathy here, Athena's head birth, fully armoured and spear-ready, symbol of Greek feminism, emerging as warrior virgin scholars debate if it's empowerment or patriarchal control, like women's roles in post-war America, breaking molds but still chained to expectations. Sensory struggle pulses, Zeus groans in agony, a migraine exploding like fireworks in his skull, pain radiating through you in throbbing waves, texture of splitting bone and splitting headache, air thick with sweat and tension, smelling of feverish exertion like a starlet in labour on set. One day, the agony peaks, he clutches his head, and with a blow, Athena springs forth, grown and clad in bronze, spear in hand, eyes flint-sharp, visual moment 3. Her leap from the sow, armour gleaming polished and unyielding, a spray of divine ichor like stage blood in a dramatic reveal, the court gasping in awe. She's wisdom, strategy, just war incarnate, no patience for fluff, a virgin fighter guiding clever mortals. Apollo and Artemis follow, twins from Leto, a titaness who wanders weary. No land offering sanctuary from Hera's wrath, her form exhausted, textured like travel-worn cloth, scent of dust and desperation from endless roads, like refugees in the Great Migration trekking dusty trails for safety. Visual moment 4, Leto on Delos's floating isle, birthing in isolation, Apollo golden-haired and bright, emerging with light's glow, Artemis swift and silver, huntress of wilds. Modern comparison. Leto's plight echoes immigrant mothers in Ellis Island lines, barred entry by jealous powers, irony in the empathy God's kids born in exile, discomfort of that forced wander turning to high emotional pull. Then Ares, war's bloody hand, son of Zeus and Hera but unloved by both strength without reins, rage unchecked, his form muscled and scarred, textured like battered leather, smelling of iron and sweat from endless clashes. He's chaos in battle, gloried but often outwitted, like a hot-headed actor typecast in action flicks but flopping at the box office. Opposite him, Hephaestus, the lame forge god. Born of Hera alone or hurled from Olympus tales vary, finding solace in metal. His hammer strikes ringing true, textures of glowing iron and anvil sparks, air hot with forge smoke like a Hollywood prop shop. Aphrodite arrives from foam, beauty and desire's queen, her skin silken and irresistible, scent of sea roses and allure married to Hephaestus but heart with Ares, embodying passion's chaos, Hermes, trickster herald, son of Zeus and Maia, swift between worlds, winged sandals fluttering, mischievous grin flashing steals Apollo's cattle day old, singing cover-up tunes. Visual moment 5, Dionysus, twice born from Zeus's thigh after Semele's fiery end sewn in like a sci-fi implant, emerging wild and vine-wrapped, theatre's god of masks and frenzy. The court gathers, raw powers quarreling like siblings on a dysfunctional set, Hera's jealousy shaping fates, her crown earned in betrayal's fire. Irony floods the high. These flawed immortals, radiant yet vast, meddle in mortal lives from cloud marble halls, no storms or decay touching Olympus, corridors wide for wind's wander, discomfort in the empathy, that internal high of watching gods mirror our messy humanity, like Tinseltown stars with perfect facades but tabloid scandals. Breathe with destiny's rhythm, soul, inhale the court's golden incense, exhale the quirky birth's oddity. Thrones set, realms divided, but the world won't stay still. Pride, love, rage immune even to gods, mortals rising with stories that pull divine strings. As the divine strings of mortal stories begin to tug at the Olympian court, pulling even the mightiest into the fray with pride and rage that no throne can tame, you drift closer, wandering soul, feeling that quirky oddity of godly births evolve into something more grounded, more human, the irony hitting like a gut punch amid the glamour, where immortals meddle but can't escape their own messes, much like the factory barons of the Industrial Revolution who built empires on the backs of workers, only to watch sparks of rebellion ignite from the very forges they controlled. Breathe with destiny's rhythm, in through the lingering incense haze that clings sweet and smoky to the marble halls, out to clear the heady mix of power and pettiness, but discomfort creeps in anew, a subtle itch under your ethereal skin. The gods sit secure, yet the world below stirs with creations they'll come to fear, the swallowing darkness of their hubris threatening to dim even Olympus's glow. It's peak drama now. This shift from celestial squabbles to earthly origins, where fire becomes both gift and curse, echoing those Gilded Age mills where innovation promised progress, but delivered exploitation's grind. Long before cities rose in marble or prayers etched in stone, the gods ruled alone from their cloudy perch. The earth below, a wild, green expanse teeming with beasts and silent peaks. No hands to till, no voices to echo under stars, no warmth to fend off the night. But Prometheus, that old blood titan who never bowed to Cronus and escaped Tartarus's chains, envisions humanity's shape first a creature of foresight, his name meaning just that. Brother to Epimetheus, the afterthought. Their duo as mismatched as a pair of inventors in a smoky Manchester workshop, one dreaming ahead while the other regrets too late. He sided with Zeus in the war, not from blind loyalty but prophetic sight, walking the tightrope between eras like a union organizer whispering revolution in factory shadows. Tidbit absurd Prometheus, the ultimate foresight guy, molds humans from clay by a riverbank, fingers kneading mud into limbs like a potter gone rogue. Breathing life in with a puff, think of it as the first 3D printer of souls, absurdly low-tech for creating beings who'd outsmart the gods themselves. Modern comparison stirs the irony. Just as Industrial Revolution tinkerers like Edison sparked innovation from scraps, Prometheus crafts upright thinkers in God's image, gifted with invention's spark, but weak, soft-skinned, clawless, fangless, naked under skies, trembling in winter like early factory hands huddled in drafty tenements, defenseless against the world's beasts. You feel the discomfort build, that internal irony of creation's double edge. These first humans, sculpted beside rushing waters with a wet, pliable texture that squelches under ethereal fingers, smelling of river mud and fresh earth like a clay pit after rain, come alive with Prometheus's breath, a warm, vital gust that fills their lungs, eyes blinking open to the wild, but they're frail, huddling in cold, furless and fireless, their skin goose-pimpled and vulnerable, evoking the raw survival of immigrant workers in Pittsburgh's mills. Forging ahead despite the chill of exploitation, Prometheus pities them, ascending to Olympus to plead for a gift, something to elevate them above animals, warmth or tool to survive. But Zeus refuses, his throne still fresh seized, wary of rising forces below. He sees peril in mortals, not potential. Let them live in fear, knowing their place. Fire the immortal's privilege, hearth of Hestia, bolt of Zeus, forge of Hephaestus not for grubby hands. Irony floods your soul's core, discomfort twisting like a wrench in the gut, the king of gods, liberator from titans, now the oppressor, hoarding light like a robber baron, locking patents away from the masses, echoing how Carnegie guarded steel secrets while workers starved in the shadows. Stubborn and just, Prometheus defies, climbing heavens in secret to steal flame from Hephaestus's forge. Tidbit absurd. He hides it in a hollow fennel stalk, that everyday herb turned contraband carrier, like smuggling blueprints in a lunchbox during a corporate espionage flick. Absurd simplicity toppling divine decrees, carrying it down. He gifts it to man, first crackle under stars, smoke spiraling in lazy wisps, light pushing back the dark with a warm, flickering glow, texture of dancing flames licking wood, smelling of crackling pine and smoky triumph. With fire comes everything, warmth wrapping like a blanket on a tenement hearth, safety from beasts, cooked food's savory aroma filling the air, metal forged in heat's embrace, language sparked in firelit circles, crafts blooming from ingenuity. Humanity builds, once voiceless shadows now illuminating treetops, visual moment one, clay figures stirring to life by the river, mud drying to skin under sun, eyes widening in wonder, Prometheus descending with the fennel torch, its tip glowing orange, casting long shadows on eager faces, humans huddling around the first blaze, flames' heat thawing chilled bones, expressions shifting from fear to awe. But defiance draws Zeus's wrath, a fury like a mill owner's crackdown on strikers terrible, unyielding. To punish mankind, he commissions a gift, curse disguised. Hephaestus shapes Pandora from clay, a woman of perfect beauty, her form smooth and idealized, textured like fine porcelain, but with an undercurrent of fragility. Aphrodite bestows charm, a seductive allure scented with floral sweetness. Hermes cunning, sly whispers in her ear. Athena silver garments, shimmering and cool. Named All Gifted, she's handed a sealed jar mistranslated later as box holding the world's sorrows, disease, toil, grief, madness, envy, death itself, sealed tight like a time bomb in a factory safe. Epimetheus, the fool, takes her despite warnings. His home now a powder keg irony piquing the discomfort. That empathetic revulsion in you brother's wisdom wasted on a pretty trap. Like a depression worker snagging a dream job that turns out to be a sweatshop scam. Driven by curiosity, God's final gift, she opens it. Evil spilling like smoke from an overworked boiler. Wispy and insidious, textures ethereal yet clinging. Smells of decay and despair flooding the air. Hunting mankind like plagues in the industrial slums. The golden age shatters. Hunger gnaws bellies with sharp pangs. War bleeds dry with iron tang. Age stoops backs with weary creaks. Visual moment two. Pandora's jar unsealing, dark vapors curling out like factory exhaust, faces twisting in horror as shadows envelop the once peaceful fields. Only hope remains trapped. Flickering light amid gloom, some say by design, a cruel tease. Sensory struggle engulfs. The warmth of fire now contrasts the chill of unleashed woes. Evil's cold touch like frost on skin, smells shifting from hearth coziness to rot's foulness. Discomfort in the irony Prometheus's gift birthing progress and pain. Like the steam engine revolutionizing travel but choking cities with smog, Prometheus's fate seals next for defiance. Zeus chains him to a world's edge mountain, Caucasus, or mythic lost peak adamantine links biting cold and unbreakable, textured like unyielding iron manacles from a chain gang. Each day, an eagle Typhon-born or Zeus-sent descends, talons sharp and ripping, feasting on his liver with wet, tearing sounds, the metallic scent of blood fresh and nauseating, pain exploding like a gut shot in a western showdown. Night regrows it, torment renewing at dawn immortal, so suffering endless, generations passing as kingdoms rise and fall. Visual moment 3 eagles swooping low, wings buffeting wind with leathery texture, beak plunging into flesh with crimson spray. Prometheus bound, chains rattling against rock, face contorted in eternal grimace under stormy skies. Tidbit absurd, his liver's nightly region. Wolverine-style healing factor for the damned absurd immortality. A superpower that's pure torture, like a factory whistle blowing eternally without break. Modern comparison echoes the exploited laborers in Ford's assembly lines, chained to repetitive hell, their progress a cycle of pain for the boss's gain, irony flooding your core, discomfort peaking in sarcastic revulsion. Zeus, the just king, playing sadist, while men light fires in the dark, toasting the thief who dared. Yet Prometheus endures, unrepentant, holding a secret Zeus dreads the king's fall by his own seed, a truth shielding the titan Zeus can't slay him without the woman's name who bears doom. So he waits, bound but unbroken, as humanity kindles flames and spins yarns of the firebringer. Breathe with destiny's rhythm, soul, inhale the fire's defiant warmth, exhale the eagle's savage tear. The gods shape the world, but mortals' deeds fill it with beauty and sorrow, poets later dividing human epics into 5 gold, silver, bronze, heroic. Iron each a step down, save the heroic spark. Inhale the clay's earthy promise, exhale the jar's smoky curse, the flame fights the swallowing darkness. But punishment's loop endures, discomfort's irony a high drama peak in this cosmic tale, as the flame fights back against the swallowing darkness in that endless loop of punishment. Wandering soul, you can't help but feel the irony settle like a heavy fog over a depression breadline Prometheus chained for giving light. While humanity kindles fires and spins tales of endurance, their short lives flickering brighter than the gods' eternal glow, yet burdened by the very gifts that elevate them. Breathe with destiny's rhythm, in through the smoky warmth of those first hearths, out to dispel the acrid sting of eagle's feast, letting it transition the discomfort into a reflective unease. The gods' meddling births a world of mortals who rise and fall in cycles, each age a step down the ladder, save for the heroic spark that briefly defies the decline. It's the beginning of human epics now, poets like Hesiod etching them into lore gold, silver, bronze, heroic, iron each marked by blessings and curses from on high, mirroring the boom and bust swings of America's own history, where golden promises of prosperity soured into iron-hardened struggles. Inhale the essence of it all, that first golden age under Cronus's unwitting rule, before the Olympians' watchful eyes turned wary mortals living like gods themselves, free from pain's sharp edge, untouched by age's slow creep or toil's back-breaking grind. The earth yields bounty without coaxing, harvests swelling in every season, fruits bursting juicy and sweet, their textures ripe and yielding under tentative fingers, smelling of sun-warmed orchards like the idealized farms in folklore tales of pre-depression abundance. No laws needed, no swords drawn, kings unnecessary, coins unknown, just harmony, doors unlocked in peaceful hamlets, justice unseen but present, spirits fading into sleep-like death to become kindly guardians, wandering as pure daemons over the land. Visual moment 1, golden fields waving under eternal sun, textures of soft grass and blooming flowers brushing the air, mortals reclining in idyll, faces serene as a Norman Rockwell painting of simpler times, but discomfort whispers in the irony, that internal reflection starting to form such Edenic peace, closest to paradise any mortal gets, passes like all golden things fading with Cronus's fall, Zeus's rise ushering the Silver Age, dimmer souls in taller, stronger forms, long-lived but foolish, lingering in pampered childhood for a century, ignorant as babes, only to erupt into violent arrogance, scorning gods and laws. They build no temples, offer no sacrifices, mock Olympus's decrees irony twisting the discomfort sharper, like the roaring 20s flappers dancing on the edge of crash, their beauty a veil over hubris that invited the fall. Zeus strikes them down, spirits fading pale to the underworld, no guardian roles, just forgotten shades, sensory struggle in the air now, the once sweet orchard scent turning stale and metallic, textures of their tall forms crumbling to dust like faded stock certificates in 29. Then the Bronze Age dawns, born from ash trees of spears and shields, men forged of metal itself, hearts hard as their bronze homes and tools, living for battle, dying by it, sowing the world with blood and ash. No cities, no poems, no statues, just shattered swords in empty fields, their flesh textured, unyielding and cold, smelling of oiled weapons and campfire smoke from endless wars, like Civil War soldiers marching into meat grinders, terrible but not evil, driven by drum's rhythm. Visual moment 2, bronze warriors clashing, shields dented and ringing, blood spraying hot and sticky, fields trampled to mud under iron-shod feet. Gods mourn not their passing, sinking to Hades without echo irony in the decline, discomfort reflecting on humanity's warlike turn, a sarcastic nod to how progress often means more efficient killing, echoing America's own arms races. Yet decline isn't steady. From bronze blood and smoke rises the heroic age, a brilliant interlude of glory before the final fall, not part of the descent, but a defiant glow, demigods born of gods and men, building cities, sailing seas, carving names into memory. This is Perseus and Heracles, Theseus and Atalanta, Jason's Argonauts, Hector and Achilles, Odysseus slaying monsters, toppling kings, warring at Troy. Many die young, forgotten, but stories endure in song and stone. Epics and prayers some granted Elysian fields beyond ocean's edge. Heroes dwelling in eternal sunlight. Visual moment 3 demigods charging forth. Perseus with mirrored shield gleaming like a Depression-era reflector warding off dust storms. Heracles wrestling beasts in sweat-slicked grapples. Tidbit absurd Medusa's gaze turning foes to stone, a death selfie filter from ancient times, where one wrong look freezes you forever, like getting caught in a viral meme gone lethally wrong. Historical debate stirs the reflective irony as the Iron Age, our current epoch. Hesiod's critique of contemporary Greek society, sorrow, toil, bonds breaking like rusted chains, justice averting eyes, lies cheap as wartime propaganda. Men labour dawn to dusk in bitter soil, raise kids amid war and famine, age with pain and fear towers built, ancestors forgotten, forests felled for gold and power, an age heavy and old, where gods watch in silence if at all. Sensory struggle deepens the discomfort. The iron tang of blood and sweat from heroic clashes, textures of calloused hands gripping swords now rusted in endless grind, smells of famine's rot and forge smoke blending into a choking haze, like factory pollution during the Depression, where workers toiled in bitter mills, bonds fraying between kin and community. Modern comparison hits home, think of the Great Depression's iron grip. Folks chasing jobs like gold, cutting down dreams for survival, justice walking blind amid Hoovervilles. It's said even this passes, gods turning backs, Zeus's bolt casting humanity to smoke, but hope endures, that fragile gift from Pandora's jar not reclaimed. Visual moments capture the declined silver souls in arrogant towers crumbling to dust. Bronze warriors' fields littered with broken spears, ash drifting like snow, heroic ships slicing waves, but Iron Age cities rising grim, smoke-belching factories of fate, breathe with destiny's rhythm. Soul, inhale the golden memory's faint sweetness, exhale the iron weight irony in the fall, discomfort yielding to reflection. Mortals, flickering beside immortals' long watch, mark the earth with resilience, their stories a spark against the swallowing dark. Now, as ages wane into heroic lights, you face the decline head-on. Perseus, first great hero, slayer of monsters and dynasty founder, his tale starting not in glory but prophecy's fear. Like a depression kid born under bad omens, destined to upend the family farm, his mother Danae, Argos princess, locked in bronze tower by grandfather Acrisius. Oracle warning her son kills him, kings fearing control, sealing her against time and men, texture of metal cold and confining, air stale like a tenement lockdown. But gods laugh at precautions. Zeus's golden rain slips through cracks, falling on her in solitude tidbit, absurd divine shower turning seduction, like a surprise stock tip in crash times. Birthing Perseus from liquid gold, Acrisius casts them to sea in a chest, wooden and bobbing, but fate's fickle drifts to Seriphos. Fisherman Dictys hauls them ashore, raising the boy strong with king's bearing and storm eyes. Peace short for destiny bearers. King Polydectes eyes Danae's beauty. Perseus stands defiant, boasting to fetch Medusa's head, the mortal Gorgon, gaze turning flesh to stone, one of three sisters, winged and snake-haired, hideous from sea deities. Gods favour him. Athena lends shield mirror, polished reflective to avoid eyes. Hermes curved sword and winged sandals, directing to Grae. Grey sisters sharing one eye steal it for Laia's secret. Tidbit absurd, Gorgon's petrifying stare, ancient equivalent of a cursed app filter that freezes your feed forever. Sensory struggle, venomous blood's acrid burn like chemical spills in industrial accidents. Textures of stone, victims cold and immobile. Visual moments, Perseus flying over deserts on sandals flutter, shield gleaming. Graea's single eye plucked like a marble from socket. Medusa sleeping in shadowed grove, snakes hissing softly, head severed in backward strike. Pegasus springing from neck in winged burst. On return, he saves Andromeda from sea monster, her chained to rock. Beauty innocent slays beast, turns it to stone, claims her as bride. Back home, Polydectes scoffs. Perseus unveils head. King and court petrified Dictys rises as ruler. Cruelty's cycle broken. But prophecy haunts. At games, Discus strikes Acrisius accidentally, fulfilling fate without malice. Irony in the reflection. Discomfort fading to empathetic sigh. Heroes bear destiny's weight with dignity. Their bloodlines like depression survivors passing resilience down. Breathe deep with destiny's rhythm. Soul. Inhale the heroic spark's fleeting warmth. Exhale the decline's iron chill facing these challenges. You sense the fall's poignant sarcasm. Humanity's glory brief but etched eternal. As the fall's poignant sarcasm etches itself into your wandering soul, with humanity's glory flickering brief like a candle in the iron-hard winds of decline, you can't ignore the pull toward those heroic tales that defy the ages' downward spiral stories of underdogs facing labyrinthine challenges. Their triumphs as fleeting as a gold rush claim in the Wild West, promising fortune but delivering betrayal's dust. Breathe with destiny's rhythm, in through the faint heroic warmth that lingers like campfire embers on an Oregon Trail night. Out to shake off the iron chill of endless toil, but discomfort stirs anew. That ironic underbelly of glory heroes rise, but their quests often unravel in love's tangled webs, mirroring the westward expansion's dreams of manifest destiny, where pioneers chased horizons only to find kin turning on kin over disputed claims. The swallowing darkness of ambition claiming more than it gives. It's facing challenges head-on now, this heroic interlude, where demigods like Theseus and Jason navigate monsters and treachery, their paths as winding as the wagon ruts across prairies, empathy building in you for the human cost beneath the legend. Shift your ethereal gaze westward in this bedtime history dream, to Athens' founding spirit Theseus, the most cunning, political, human of heroes. Not just a beast slayer, but a city builder, weaver of laws, embodying the dual soul of a nation like the framers of the Constitution, spear in one hand, olive branch in the other, forging democracy from chaos. Born of two fathers, King Aegeus of Athens and Poseidon, god of the sea, his mother Aethra lay with both in one fateful night, mortal and divine mingling like the salt of Atlantic waves crashing on colonial shores, birthing a boy of destiny raised far from Athens in Trozen, unaware of his potent blood. Aegeus hid sword and sandals under a massive stone before leaving, a test of strength like those pioneer boys proving manhood by wrestling bears in the Rockies. At 16, Theseus lifts it with grunt and grin, claiming his token's tidbit absurd. That rock, a simple boulder, as the original coming-of-age capture, absurdly low stakes for unlocking royal fate. Like cracking a safe with a crowbar in a heist movie. Irony discomforts you internally. A wry twist, double heritage promising power, yet starting in obscurity. Much like mixed-blood frontiersmen in the expansion era, navigating identities amid land grabs and family feuds. He chooses the perilous land route to Athens, believing kingship earned, not inherited like those wagon train leaders opting for rugged trails over easy rivers, facing 6 labours en route, earthy terrors for common folk. Periphetes the club-bearer falls first, his weapon claimed as symbol, heavy oak textured rough and splintered, smelling of oiled wood from constant swings. Sinis, pine-bender who tore travellers asunder, meets his end bent backward, siren kicked from cliffs into sea's embrace, waves foaming below with briny crash. Sensory struggle grips. The cliff's wind-whipped air sharp and salty. Textures of bent pines creaking under strain like wagon axles groaning on rocky paths. Visual moment 1. Theseus wrestling Cercyon. Brute force met with technique. Bodies slamming on dusty ground. Sweat slicked and grunting. Procrustes stretched or cut on his iron bed. Frames cold metal biting flesh in ironic reversal. He cleans the land, paving for Athens' rise irony in the empathy, discomfort reflecting hero as janitor of roads. Like depression hobos clearing tracks for progress trains, their labours unseen but foundational. Arriving in Athens, Aegeus doesn't recognise him. Queen Medea, sorceress wife, sees threat and urges poison cup raised. But Theseus shows sword and sandals. Aegeus dashes it aside in embrace. Court joy exploding like fireworks over a frontier town hall. But myth's joy flees fast. Trouble brews east. Athens tributary to Crete after war loss every 9 years. 7 youths and maidens fed to Minotaur, half-man beast of lust and vengeance, labyrinth bound under Knossos' palace. Born of Minos' pride, Poseidon sent bull kept instead of sacrificed. Gods cursing wife Pasiphae to love it, unnatural union birthing Asterion. Horned horror, sealed in Daedalus' maze. Tidbit absurd, the labyrinth. Twisty genius of inventor Daedalus like an ancient escape room designed by a mad architect, with no exit as the punchline, absurdly trapping shame in stone corridors. Modern comparison echoes colonial outposts paying tribute to empires, youths shipped like cargo across seas. The irony discomforting Athens, cradle of democracy, reduced to sacrificial lambs. Empathy for the innocent amid power plays. Theseus volunteers among chosen, promising Aegeus white sails on return if success. Black if failure like signalling safe passage in wagon trains. Flags waving triumph or woe. At Crete, fate turns Ariadne. Minos' daughter and beast's half-sister loves him at sight, gifting threadball as clue, secret mazes paths soft, red yarn textured smooth and taut, smelling faintly of wool and dye from palace looms. Night falls, he enters the twisting dark, stone walls cool and echoing, air thick with musty damp and distant roars, breathing laboured like a miner's in collapsing shafts. They clash wordless prince versus nightmare. Theseus's blade sharp, skill honed, striking down the creature in guttural snarls. Follows thread back to light. Flees with Ariadne and freed youth sailing Aegean sensory struggle. Labyrinth's honhen breaths echoing hot and beastly. Textures of rough-hewn stone scraping hands. Smells of fierce sweat and blood mingling in confined air. Visual moment 2. Thread unspooling red in torchlit gloom. Minotaur's horns glinting, muscles rippling in charge, ship-slicing waves under starry sky. Ariadne's face tear-streaked in moonlight. But love's never simple in these tales, on Naxos. Theseus abandons her. Some say Dionysus claims. Others fear Cretan bride taints Athenian throne she wakes alone, weeping under unfamiliar stars, her sobs carrying on wind like lost pioneers' laments. He sails home, sorrow or forgetfulness leaving sails black. Aegeus, cliff-perched, sees doom and leaps to Aegean, sea named in grief, now king. Theseus unifies Attica, villages to city-state, festivals and laws blooming like frontier towns coalescing into states hero of governance as much as combat. Ventures more fights Amazons with Heracles, journeys underworld with Pirate House to steal Persephone. Failing as Pirate House earth swallowed, Theseus trapped on forgetfulness chair, memory eroding like sand in desert winds, only Heracles frees him later. Irony discomforts deeply, empathetic reflection, builder of democracy exiled by his people. Tired of kings amid new philosophies flees to Skyros, betrayed by jealous king, cliff cast to death, bones later honoured by Athenians. Visual moment 3 underworld chairs cold stone gripping, air dead and still, Theseus unifying lands, crowds cheering in agora dust, final fall from Skyros cliffs, waves crashing below like indifferent fate. Breathe with destiny's rhythm, soul, inhale the thread's guiding pull, exhale betrayal's bitter wind facing these challenges, the swallowing darkness of love's twist engulfs, irony in the hero's human frailty, empathy for quests that build worlds but break hearts, as the swallowing darkness of love's twist engulfs the hero's frailty, leaving you with that empathetic ache for quests that forge worlds yet shatter souls like fragile glass in a pioneer wagon's crash. Wandering soul, you drift onward in this bedtime history dream. The heroic interludes glow, dimming into the deeper shades of decline, where curses coil around bloodlines like vines choking an old colonial estate, turning glory to tragedy in the blink of an eye. Breathe with destiny's rhythm, in through the faint, salty tang of Aegean winds still lingering from Theseus's sails, out to release the bitter sting of betrayal's aftertaste. But discomfort builds again, that ironic undercurrent swelling like a storm cloud over a divided plantation field. Heroes build cities and laws, yet the gods' old vendettas seep down, cursing houses with riddles and madness, much like the civil war's fractures splitting families along bloodlines, where brother turned on brother over inherited sins, the air thick with the powder smoke of unresolved grudges. It's facing the heart of decline now, this Theban legacy, a revolving door of ruin built on serpents and secrets, where no riddle, no matter how cleverly cracked, defies the god's will. Empathy deepening in you for the ignorance that dooms. Irony in how seeking truth only hastens the fall. Turn your ethereal gaze to Thebes, that ancient city steeped in omens from its founding, a place where myths whisper of royal houses more cursed than blessed, their legacy etched not in triumphant bronze but in riddles, frenzy, and kinslaying like the haunted mansions of the antebellum South. Grand facades hiding generations of feuds over land and legacy, the creak of floorboards echoing unspoken horrors. It all starts with Cadmus, Phoenician prince seeking sister Europa, abducted by Zeus as a white bull tidbit absurd. This divine joyride, Zeus turning beast for a snatch, like a Prohibition-era kidnapping in a souped-up Model T. Absurd how the king of gods plays getaway driver for a crush. Oracle at Delphi bids him abandon search, follow a cow till it drops a baying. He founds Thebes on the hill, but companions slain by Ares' sacred serpent at the spring. Scales glistening iridescent, texture slimy and armoured like a Gila monster at desert sands. Venom's acrid bite filling the air with a foul, reptilian musk. Cadmus slays it, Athena commanding he sow teeth in soil-armed warriors, Spartoi or sown men, sprout like weeds, turning on each other till 5 remain. Noble families seed, Cadmus their king. But slaying Ares' pet draws wrath. He serves war god 8 years in penance. Marries Harmonia. Ares and Aphrodite's daughter gods attend wedding, gifting cursed necklace from Hephaestus. Beauty's bane ruining wearers, textured like fine gold chain but heavy with doom. smelling faintly of forge smoke and regret. Irony discomforts you deeply. That internal reflection twisting doom starts in celebration, cursed by beauty's blood, like southern belles donning heirloom jewels that hid family scandals. The necklace a glittering trap. Generations' curse deepens, Cadmus's daughters meet cruel ends Ino mad, hurling child to sea's foaming embrace. Autonoa's son Actaeon torn by hounds after glimpsing Artemis bathing, his flesh ripped in bloody shreds, texture raw and torn, scent of blood and wet fur thick in the air. Semele, Zeus loved, tricked by Hera to demand true form, consumed in flames raw, heat blistering like a plantation fire gone wild. Agave, in Dionysian frenzy, tears on Pentheus limb from limb, mistaking him for lion, visual moment one Maenads dancing wild. Thyrsis staffs thumping earth, Agave holding son's head aloft, eyes wild with madness, blood dripping sticky and warm down her arms, the metallic tang mixing with wine's fermented sweetness in torchlit groves. But through Cadmus's great-great-grandson Laius, tragedy unfolds full King of Thebes wedding Jocasta. Oracle warning son kills father, weds mother. Warning ignored, as Greek tales demand, Laius beds her, boy born terrified, ankles pierced and bound. Servant ordered to abandon on Cytheron's slopes, rocky and thorn-choked, air crisp with mountain pine but undercut by infants' wails, echoing like lost echoes in Civil War battlefields. Servant pities, passes to shepherd, who delivers to Corinth's childless Polybus and Merope, welcoming him as own, naming Oedipus. Swollen foot, scars a lifelong reminder, textured like puckered skin from old bindings. Oedipus grows clever, proud, but birth rumours gnaw, seeks truth at Delphi. Oracle echoing Laius's doom, kill father, wed mother. Horrified, believing Polybus and Merope true parents, flees Corinth unwittingly toward fate. Road to Thebes a dusty track lined with olive trees, their gnarled textures rough under passing hands. At crossroads near Delphi, quarrels with imperious stranger old, proud over passage rights, rage flares. Oedipus slays him and attendants, fists bloodied, texture sticky and warm, metallic scent rising sharp in the sun-baked air, never knowing it's Laius, true father, continues to Thebes, besieged not by army but sphinx lion-bodied, eagle-winged, woman's face devouring riddle-failers. What walks 4 legs morning, 2 at noon, 3 evening, Oedipus answers swift man, sphinx hurls from cliff, Thebes rejoices deliverer made king, weds widowed Jocasta, his mother, unaware. Years pass, rules well. 4 children, Eteocles, Polynices, Antigone. Ismene palace opulent, marble cool and veined, scented with myrrh incense, but undercurrents stir. Plague falls, oracle declares unpunished blood curses land, truth unravels slow. Terrible crossroads, old man, queen's grief, scarred feet, surviving servant, blind Tiresias naming king as father-brother, son-husband, Jocasta hangs. Brooch-pierced eyes blinding Oedipus, pain exploding like salt in wounds, texture of metal cold against lids, blood's warm trickle down cheeks, scent coppery and final, begs exile, wanders wretched, Antigone guiding hand hills near Colonus sanctuary, quiet death swallowed by earth, grave gods kept secret. Visual moment 2, Oedipus self-blinding, brooches glinting in lamplight, face contorted in horror's realization, blood pooling on palace floor like spilled wine at a southern wake. Historical debate swirls the discomfort. Ironic reflection Oedipus's tale. Free will versus fate, did choices doom him, or was prophecy inescapable? Like Civil War soldiers marching to predestined graves, scholars arguing if ignorance is tragedy's true villain, empathy for the man destroyed by truth-seeking. Children escape not curse Eteocles and Polynices' throne fight. Polynices exiled, raises Argos' army, leads 7 against Thebes' war, bathes city in blood. Brothers slay each other at gates, spears clashing with metallic ring. Textures of armor dented and blood-smeared, smells of sweat and iron filling the air like battlefield fog. Thebes survives, soul broken. Antigone buries brother defying Creon. Entombed alive for it, gods send madness to his house as punishment. Tidbit absurd Sphinx's death quiz show. Riddle as lethal game night, absurd stakes where wrong answer means devoured. Like a twisted Jeopardy episode hosted by a monster. The prize mere survival. Irony discomforts profoundly. Empathetic churn. Thebes endures. Kingship revolving ruin. Oedipus not monster slayer but fate's pawn. Seeking truth destroyed by it. Like southern aristocrats unravelling under war's curse. Reflection on ignorance's tragedy. Now. Of wars ravaging soil. None echoes louder than for a woman's face oaths. Pride. Beauty. Betrayal. Gods and kings toppling empires. Born not spears but weddings discord. Eris. Strife goddess. Uninvited to Peleus and Thetis' marriage nymph, fated for greater son hurls golden apple inscribed to fairest, shattering kingdoms like a grenade at a family reunion. Claimed by Hera, Athena, Aphrodite, each deeming herself worthy, they seek mortal judge Paris, Troy's shepherd prince, exiled to hills after omen foretelling cities burn. Gods bring him to Ida's mount. Bribes offered Hera kingship over men, Athena wore wisdom, Aphrodite love of world's fairest. Paris chooses love, Helen of Sparta, Zeus' daughter, Menelaus' wife, suitors bound by oath to defend her union, pact sealed in laughter but binding fate like civil war truces that crumbled under pride. Visual moment 3, apple rolling amid feast, gold glinting under torchlight, goddesses' faces flushing with rivalry, Paris swiping like Tinder match on Aphrodite, sheep grazing oblivious below. Paris visits Sparta under guest right pretense, sees Helen, takes her willing or stolen. Poets differ, sailing Aegean with her, war igniting. Menelaus rages, calls oath Odysseus reluctant, clever Ithaca king, Nestor sage of Pylos, Ajax greater, towering grim, Ajax lesser, swift fierce, Diomedes Argos brave, Idomeneus Crete stalwart. From Hellas corners, kings assemble, only Odysseus feigns madness. Salting fields till envoy places son before plough. Achilles hidden by Thetis among Lycomedes' daughters, silk-clad, tricked by spear shield amid jewels. Fleet at Aulis, 1,000 ships bronze gleaming, sails thunderous but winds stall. Oracle demands Artemis appeased, Agamemnon's daughter Iphigenia sacrificed. Blade falling or deer substituted, blood real or not. Gods watching king kill child for war. Winds rise, fleet east world changes, Greeks landing Trojan shores as judgment. For 10 years, camp under Ilion's walls. Priam city defended by sons, Hector noble doomed. Paris beautiful weak, Deiphobus, Helenus, God's side Hera, Athena, Poseidon Greeks, Aphrodite, Ares, Apollo, Artemis Trojans, Zeus above, bending to fate family. Sensory struggle chokes, plagues foul rot from unburied dead. Textures of siege dust caking skin, smells of smoke and sweat in camps like Civil War trenches. Visual moments, ships launching Aulis, sails billowing, Iphigenia altar-bound, blade glinting, Trojan walls towering, gods descending mist-shrouded, irony discomforts, reflective empathy, war from love, pride, divine rivalry, old curses, deeper fears ending in fire, like civil wars brother against brother over fairest ideals. Breathe with destiny's rhythm, ya soul, inhale apple's golden allure, exhale plagues and gat between curses' breath. You ponder war's folly, decline's dark pull. As the decline's dark pull tugs at you between the curse's heavy breath, wandering soul, with war's folly hanging like a shroud over the apple's deceptive gleam, and the plague's choking grip, you can't escape the magnetic draw toward the greatest clash of all that epic siege of Troy, where beauty's face launches not just ships but an age's unravelling, the heroic spark flaring brightest before the iron shadows claim it all. Breathe with destiny's rhythm, in through the faint metallic tang of ancient blood still echoing from Thebes' gates, out to clear the ngat haze of curses and riddles. But discomfort lingers, that ironic whisper of how glory's height precedes the hardest fall, much like the post-war boom in America, where victory parades mask the quiet fractures of returning soldiers. their triumph soured by the swallowing darkness of readjustment. Families rebuilding on battle-scarred foundations. Its lessons in resilience now, this resolution unfolding, where the wooden horse's scam gift topples walls, aftermaths scatter heroes like shrapnel, and the underworld cycles offer a chilling mirror empathy swelling in you for the human cost. Irony in how even God's favourites end up adrift. The pomegranate seeds motif a defiant counter to the void, promising renewal amid the Ket-Koi of ruin. Drift with me deeper into the dream's soul as the Oathbound Suitors Pact ignites the flames of the Trojan War. 10 years of siege turning the once Golden Age's underbelly into a grinding hellscape. The air thick with the perpetual stench of unburied dead and smouldering camps. Textures of dust-caked armour chafing skin like the rough wool of GI's uniforms post-D-Day. Their boots sinking into Trojan plains turned to mud by blood and rain. Visual moment 1. The Greek fleet at Aulis, sails billowing like thunderheads, 1,000 bronze-prowed ships gleaming under sun, but winds dying to whispers. Calchas the seer revealing Artemis's offense a slain stag, or boastful word demanding Iphigenia's blood. Agamemnon's daughter led to altar under marriage's guise, her white gown flowing soft and tragic, the blade's edge cold and unyielding as it descends. Or in some tales, a deer's throat slit in her place, hot blood spraying the stones with a coppery splatter that stains the air, gods watching impassive as the king trades kin for conquest. Irony discomforts you viscerally, that reflective churn, a father's sacrifice for glory, echoing the rationed hopes of Giwiwi families sending sons overseas, the Ket-Koi of pyres foreshadowing the beaches to come, empathy for the girl's innocence lost in the machine of war. Winds howl free at last, fleet slicing east across wine-dark Aegean, landing on Trojan shores not as raiders but divine judgment, the clash beginning in fury's roar, Protesilaus first to leap, speared in skirmish, his blood soaking sand with warm, sticky flow, texture gritty underfoot like Normandy's bloodied dunes. For a decade, Greeks camp black-walled by shore, raiding for sustenance, ships hauled high on sand, while Trojans hold behind Poseidon-raised walls, Apollo's mortal builder once serving in penance. Their fields razed, allies from east and north Sarpedon of Lycia, Memnon of Ethiopia bolstering the cause. Pride chains Greeks to Helen's retrieval, legacies matter, but war lives in hearts. Agamemnon imperial, Achilles unmatched, fated young death he makes legendary. Quarrel shatters alliance over women Chryseis. Apollo priest's daughter, awarded Agamemnon, ransomed but traded for Briseis from Achilles. Priest's plea scorned, God sends plague, silent killer filling air with death's rot. Bodies piling like cordwood, smells of decay and pyre smoke blending into a nauseating fog. Textures of fevered skin clammy and hot. Calchas reveals truth. Agamemnon yields Chryseis but demands Briseis. Achilles rages, calling him greedy coward, swearing off fight, withdrawing Myrmidons, elite warriors silent and lethal. Tide turns, Trojans press, Hector leading with noble fury, city's heart husband, father, prince duty-bound, not Paris's weakness or Deiphobus's glory-seeking. Day by day, Greeks retreat to sea, ships ablaze in crackling flames, heroes falling, Protesilaus long gone. Now Patroclus watches losses mount, despair growing like weeds in neglected fields. Some say lover, others friend, but he alone reaches Achilles' grief fury as Trojans breach, threatening burn ships. Patroclus begs to fight instead, donning hero's armour, chariot thundering. Myrmidons rallying Greeks rally brief, but he overreaches to Troy's gates, meeting Hector in brutal duel, spear-piercing, Patroclus falling, peace in Achilles shattered. Visual moment 2, Patroclus charging dust clouds billowing, armour flashing sun, Hector's spear thrust true, blood blooming on bronze, body crumpling like a marionette cut loose. Trojans cheering amid the Ket-Koi of siege fires. Achilles learns. Grief howling like storm god returns not for glory but vengeance. Thetis fetching new armour from Hephaestus. Bronze sun gleaming through shield-carved world's history. Textures etched intricate warm from forger's kiss, smelling of hammered metal and oil. He slaughters dozens. Chariots overturned in splintered wood. Blood-staining dust red and slick under wheels. chases Hector thrice round Troy's walls, single combat felling him spear-piercing, dragging body behind chariot, circling city day after day, denying burial dignity, dust and blood caking the corpse, texture desiccated and torn, smells of rot and sweat wafting like battlefield aftermath. Priam, old king, creeps Greek camp by Hermes' guide, kneeling before Achilles, kissing son's killer's hands, speaking as father Achilles weeps, returns body, quiet moment in war. But peace fleeting, Achilles falls to poisoned arrow at heel, Paris fired or Apollo guided, dust claiming the unmatched young. Iliad ends not Troy's fall, but funerals shared grief. War looming, 9 years siege ground to desperation. Warriors' husks, kings' ghosts, heroes, memories Troy golden behind walls like an old lion ringed by wolves. Priam's sons felled Hector by Achilles, Troilus boy struck, Polydorus betrayed slain, Trojans desperate, defending history not stone. Then Greeks vanish at dawn, Trojans tower top see no sails, ships gone. Plain before Scaean gate a colossal wooden horse, temple tall, cedar-planked flank smooth, mane carved Poseidon honour, no soldiers stirring. War ends silent, Priam cautious. Others urge, sign on, cunning Greek left. Spins deserter tail horse, Athena offering. Peace token post sail, bring inside for dominance, destroy for ruin. Laocoon warns, beware Greeks bearing gifts. Spear hurling into side, wood groaning. Shift within, but serpents rise surf, coiled great with coal eyes, crushing priest and sons in slimy grips. Scales textured rough and crushing, screams muffled in brine-sent waves. People see sign, ropes wheels pull horse walls, cheers hymns echoing. Night, city feasts, fires, ember dying, trapdoor, belly groans, thunder open Odysseus, Menelaus, Neoptolemus, Diomedes emerge, cruelty cunning hand-picked, fleet from Tenedos returns silent, Troy sleeps slaughter ensues, not war. Neoptolemus storms palace black wind, slays Priam at Zeus' altar, blood-soaking stones warm and pooling, texture viscous underfoot, metallic scent thick as abattoir. Cassandra, Priam's cursed prophetess, dragged screaming Athena temple, warnings unheard again, her hair tangled and wild, skin bruised from rough hands. Hecuba, queen, watches sons die, city burn Greeks' merciless Astyanax. Hector's infant, hurled walls so no air rises, tiny body tumbling, impact dull thud below, temples desecrated, women taken, Troy pride of Asia to flame-ket Koi billowing black, textures of crumbling walls hot and ashen, smells of charred wood and flesh choking night. Visual moment 3. Horse-hauled gates amid rejoicing crowds, ropes straining, wood creaking, warriors spilling belly, blades drawn silent, flames leaping palaces, shadows dancing chaotic on burning facades. Helen found palace, face launching 1,000 ships and weep begging forgiveness. Others proud untouched. Menelaus blade hand drops sword at eyes, takes her Sparta, war's final victory. Dawn rises, plains smoke ash, walls fallen. Gods eyes away, but victors carry curses. Ajax lesser rapes Cassandra Athena temple. Drowned sea by goddess. Agamemnon home with Cassandra concubine. Murdered Bath by Clytemnestra. Axe or robe-wrapped stab. House of Atreus bleeding on. Menelaus Helen Sparta. Names unclean. Diomedes. Nestor wander obscurity exile. Odysseus Poseidon cursed. 10 years trial sea. Tale Odyssey shipwreck monsters. Aeneas. Aphrodite Anchises' son. Escapes father back. Sun hand. Omen stars guiding Italy, blood Romulus Remus. Empire mightier Troy. Full not city end but age's heroic era where men dined gods. Glory over peace. Fate carved flesh stone. Wooden horse. Fire. Betrayal. Mourning women. Final note. Song. Apple started. Ruin ended. Walls defying. 10 years siege fall one night. Ashes drift sea winds uncaring who won. Breathe with destiny's rhythm, soul. Inhale Ket Koi's fading bitterness. Exhale victory's hollow echo lessons in resilience emerge from aftermath. That internal reflection turning discomfort to chill transition. War promises glory, delivers ashes. Heroes returning broken homes, bitter wives, hostile gods, songs hollow, Agamemnon first home, Cassandra concubine, spoil stories, shadow crime, Iphigenia sacrifice haunts, gods unforgiving, Mycenae, Clytemnestra, mother widow, lover Aegisthus cousin Atreus cursed, plotting murder roof built, king returns triumphant weary, walks trap, stabbed bath or robe-wrapped axe, blood-hot splashing tiles, texture slick and final, Cassandra threshold screaming murdered, Clytemnestra unrepentant, justice claim vengeance tradition house, later, Orestes exile returns, slays mother-lover, Apollo urged, Furies hounding madness, blood absolution tale echoing courts myths. Menelaus Helen wander South Egypt winds. Versions Phantom Helen Troy. Real safe unaged. War shadow raged or willing Paris. Menelaus forgives war-weary peace-longing. Sparta return. Rule uneasy silence. Helen name curse. City never rises high. Odysseus journey storied sorrowful enduring post-Troy sails home 10-year trial. Poseidon wrath for temple desecration, horse contriving, ship island hurled strange blinds Polyphemus Cyclops, Poseidon's son. Nobody, name escape clever, deal Circe sorceress men swine turning, herbs magic air enchanted, smells potion herbal cloying, Calypso nymph 7 years lover keep, island lush but imprisoning, waves crashing endless, underworld edge journeys, dead speaks, Tiresias Achilles, Agamemnon ghosts death unglorious final, better slave life king shades, Achilles once greatest, sails Scylla Charybdis, loses men storm folly, ashore Phaeacians tail moved, ship safe passage, Ithaca rag silence, beard long eyes cold suitors overrun house, feasting plotting wed Penelope, weaving unweaving shroud candlelight, Odysseus Telemachus swineherd help, bow only he strings, suitors slays one by one, blood hall filling sticky pooling, peacetime cycle war vengeance near, many worse Ajax lesser Athena struck crimes, Diomedes valiant returns wife, unfaithful city against, west wanders city's legend fading, Philoctetes Paris slays Heracles bow, no welcome wanderer, Neoptolemus Achilles' son Delphi killed Apollo altar, penance Troy blood, Trojan war glory promised ashes delivered, heroes shoulder to shoulder, Ilion walls return broken homes, bitter wives, hostile gods, songs truth, mismatch hollow, no victors, survivors only lessons resilience, pomegranates motif cycle renewal against swallowing darkness, hope Persephone's returns spring after winter's grip, drift underworld now, soul, post-war recovery mirror Hades realm beneath, neutral ancient, no heaven-hell Christian sense, land dead, great small noble villainous final journey, threshold 5 rivers, Styx hatred oaths, Acheron sorrow, Phlegethon fire, Cocytus lament, Lethe forgetfulness, each boundary spiritual physical, dead shadows breathless bloodless, voice form stripped, Charon ferryman coin rose Acheron, unpays Wandershore's century, whispers weeping, entry Cerberus 3-headed hound guards, teeth bared slobbering, fur-matted corse, breath-hot fetid like guard dog junkyard, plains asphodel grey dim, souls drift forgetful silence, murmuring dry leaves texture papery rustling, air still musty like forgotten basement, judges Minos Rhadamanthus Aeacus weigh souls, wicked Tartarus chasm torment Titan prison deeper, oath-breakers murderers traitors, crimes mirror Sisyphus, stone rolls eternal, sweat-slicked back-aching, dust gritty under feet, Tantalus thirsts unreachable water, fruit teasing, air parched dry, Ixion fiery wheel spins, flames licking blistering, screams echoing, rare worthy Elysian fields, soft winds green meadows perpetual spring, heroes linger memories intact deeds honoured, textures grass velvet underfoot, scents bloom eternal, fewer reborn Lethe forget, cycle anew, mystery religions soul escape, wheel stars ascend, fates rare uncertain, heart Hades stern silent, king vanity free, worship uninterfering mortals absolute rule, realm unchanged preferred evil not, Later myths paint immovable, indifferent. Zeus, storm Poseidon, tide shadow. Side Persephone queen. Story, duality, death, Demeter daughter, gathering flowers, spring day. Earth splits, Hades chariot rises, takes swift consentless realm down. Demeter grieves. Earth withers, crops fail, rivers dry, famine sweeps. Prayer sways, not world green, not till daughter returned. Zeus Hermes sends retrieve, but pomegranate seeds eaten 6 or 1 binds Hades. Compromise seasons myth Persephone underworld part year. Demeter grieves world cold, returns earth blooms life-death cycle sentence not. Over time Persephone evolves. Captive, no ruler right. Mystery's queen shades quiet authority. Eleusinian rites. Athens outside. Reenact descent return. Grain return, soul renewal hope. Visual moment 4. Persephone flowers plucking. Petals soft colourful. Earth cracking sudden. Hades chariot black horses snorting steam. Her scream lost in rush. Underworld pomegranate ruby textured juicy. Seeds bursting sweet tart on tongue. Binding sweet sorrow. Sensory struggle. Winter's barren chill. Soil frozen hard underfoot. Scents wilted dead. Spring thaw, mud squelching. Flowers blooming, fresh dewy discomfort irony. Kidnapping cycle. Like post-walk 2 wives waiting husband's return. Pomegranate snack deciding seasons. Absurd binding power tiny fruit. Modern comparison GI's homecomings fractured. Recovery cycles of loss renewal. Underworld not sealed. Mortal's journey tell Orpheus sings past Cerberus. Charms Hades Persephone. Eurydice loses backward glance. Lyre strings vibrating mournful. Air echoing loss. Heracles Cerberus surfaces. Strength wrestling snarling jaws. Fur course saliva dripping. Odysseus Circe guided sacrifices dead calls. Tiresias Achilles. Agamemnon shades death unglorious final. Greeks tombs care, coins Charon. Weapons wine songs buried. Libations hearth poured dead. Haunt dreams signs. Rites blood called answers unspoken. Mirror life memory justice appeal free no faithful heaven faithless hell. Exist vast dark. Ruled God love prayers silence only. Stillness, eternity shape. Hades, Persephone stories, shadows judgment, rivers thrones, earth beneath. Death place, cosmos not punishment passage. Breathe destiny's rhythm deep. Soul, inhale pomegranate's defiant sweetness. Exhale underworld's musty chill lessons, resilience emerge. War consequences pondered. Chill transition reflection. Cycles renew. Swallowing darkness pierced hope's seed. Discomfort, irony yielding empathetic peace. Heroic age ends ashes, but myths endure, guiding us through our declines. As the heroic age crumbles to ashes in that empathetic peace. Wandering soul, with cycles of renewal piercing the swallowing darkness like a stubborn seed pushing through frozen ground. You feel the discomfort's irony soften into a gentle, reflective chill, war's consequences pondered, resilience's lessons emerging from the underworld's musty depths, and the pomegranate's sweet tart defiance, guiding us through declines that seem eternal, but whisper of comebacks, much like the post-WASWAC recovery in America, where GIs return to build suburbs from rubble, their stories of endurance turning scars into symbols of hope amid the baby boom's promise. Breathe with destiny's rhythm one more time, in through the faint, lingering sweetness of those defiant seeds, out to exhale the chill of forgotten shades, letting it carry you toward the final unwind of this bedtime history dream. The gods' thrones, once thunderous and unassailable, begin to fade not in blaze of glory, but in a slow, ironic retreat, their immortality cracking like old plaster on a Depression-era farmhouse, revealing the human truths beneath that myths were always meant to teach. Drift with me now, soul, as Olympus's glittering court encounters the winds of change, the Olympians mighty yet unchallenged no more even as Zeus's temples pierce skies, and Athena's wisdom lights city-states. Darker forces stir from horizons beyond, gods of wine, madness, death, rebirth whispering in secret groves and torchlit caves, not public altars but hidden rites. Chief among them, Dionysus, last to Olympus' seat, bridging divine and wild, his birth defying nature. Zeus' son and Semele mortal princess, tricked by Hera to demand true form, consumed in radiance. Zeus sowing unborn into thigh tidbit absurd. This thigh delivery, like a sci-fi pod birth in a B-movie, absurdly turning the king of gods into a human incubator, emerging twice born with vine and flute, wandering not throned but roaming with revelers in ecstatic dance, vineyards blooming where he treads, reason faltering to ecstasy's edge. Visual moment 1. Semele engulfed in thunder's blaze, flames hot and crackling, air scorched with ozone and fear, Zeus stitching thigh, needle-piercing divine flesh with a sharp prick, texture of skin stretching taut, Dionysus bursting forth, wild-eyed and grape-scented, satyrs capering with furry limbs and horns, the air alive with wine's fermented tang and drum's primal thump. Dionysus' arrival, Greece resists city's mock rites, kings bar worship punished one by one, Thebes, mother's home, young god disguised, followers unrest stirring with cries and drums. Pentheus, rigid king, suppresses, arrests Dionysus, spies hill women but god lures woods woman dressed. Agave leading Maenads tears him limb, trance madness, spell breaks returning city sun's head. Thyrsus, lesson shadows, Thebes, he's theatre's god too, masks performance truths in lies, festivals Greek drama heart, comedies tragedies honouring, masks carved expressive, textures wood-painted smooth, scents paint and sweat in amphitheatres, worship surrender complete, mystery cults, new initiation secrecy rebirth, unlike Olympus formal, personal promise, Eleusinian Demeter, Persephone reenact descent return, daughter death lost found, Orphix Orpheus mystic, Dionysus torn resurrected, suffering wisdom, rites rebirth freedom. Mysteries Olympians not reject, beneath quieter deeper hope where thundering gods law only, soul endure transcend body whisper, old certainties tremble, even Olympus cracks show gods feud bitterer, Ares Athena warrior hearts vie, Apollo loves fatal, Hyacinthus Daphne Coronis death transformation wake, Aphrodite jealous punishes desire stirs, gods mortals resemble proud fickle wounded lost, Dionysus. Olympian order mirror undoing divine wanderer, joy madness leaves, king's tears peasants raises, divinity nature changes, gods aloof eternal no longer, mystery ritual wine song madness, mortals feel god breath within, temples not themselves, distance wine dark seas marble columns, new gods stir Rome rising, world changing, Olympus thrones thunder's wind shifting mountaintop. Visual moment 2, Dionysus Thebes procession, Thyrsus pine cone topped waving, revelers ivy crowned dancing, air heady with wine and sweat, Maenads hair wild flowing, fabrics linen flowing soft against skin, mystery cave torchlit, initiates hooded, scents incense and earth damp, whispers echoing stone walls textured rough and ancient, Olympians immortality glory confine not stories, high halls descend men form lovers, tempters, warriors, punishers, mingle mortals, leave oracles, omens, children, demigods born, world embrace, not contain kings, monsters, legends, stories, walls, Troy temples sired longer, foremost Heracles, Zeus Alcmene son, Thebes queen conception trickery, Zeus husband disguised, night threefold, union Heracles twin Iphicles mortal, Hera throne watches cold bitter, husband's ways knowing, half-god threat dominion, cradle serpent sent strangle, infant throttles fists plump fame grows youth arts noble, music archery wrestling chariot, wild restlessness lyre tutor tame not, manhood love ruin, marries Megara Creon daughter, peace fathers sons city defends, Hera forgets not, divine wrath, madness clouds mind, slays wife children hands cradled once, madness passes vision clears, blood ruin house beholds cries, Olympus no god answers, atonement Delphi oracle, Pythia riddles, submit Eurystheus, tyrant's cousin king, servitude suffering redemption earn, 12 labours begin, deeds gods notice Nemean lion golden hide impierceable, cave cornered strangled bare hands, flayed claw own wears armour second hide, Linnaean Hydra, 9 heads. 2 grow-severed swamps battled. Nephew Iolus cauterizes stumps. Last immortal venomous head arrows dipped deadly gods even. Ceryneian hind, golden-horned Artemis sacred. Year chased hills, rivers gentle captured alive. Goddess reluctant approval. Erymanthian boar wild monstrous. Snow Arcadia wrestled, dragged Tyrins chained. Eurystheus bronze jar terror hid laughing. Augean stables cattle, thousands decades untouched. Rivers rerouted filth single-day washes. Stymphalian birds, man-eating bronze beaks, razor wings. Athena rattlades, startled flight shot sky down. Cretan bull, divine origin. Minotaur fathered, wrestled, brought alive, bull gaze madness, sea salt fury. Diomedes mares, flesh-eating teeth gnashing human meat. Master fed them, docile grew. Hippolyta, girdle Amazon, queen retrieve. Queen agrees, gift peaceful. Hera rumors, warrior women, battle breaks. Hippolyta, slain belt escaped. Geryon cattle edge, known world, Erythea steel. Triple-bodied giant. Pillars. Heracles, Gibraltar straight built. Giant herdsman hound fought, drove red cattle continents across. Eurystheus discredits labours invalid. Iolus Hydra, help rivers stables 2 more required. Hesperides, golden apples, nymphs, dragon-guarded tree-base steel. Atlas skybearer, tricked apples, retrieve heavens held. Atlas burden, leave tries. Heracles cloak a just moment asks, sky takes fleeing fruit. Final harrowing, Hades descends, Cerberus 3-headed hound bring. Strength armed journey underworld. Hades permission, grim wrestle, submission leads snarling, frothing living land. Labour final redemption, one life not peace yet. Battles more wives, new children fathers. Hera hatred endures. End not blade monster, poisoned centaur, Nessus blood tunic. Dear Naira wife believed love charms smeared. Poison flesh burns. Heracles pyre, Mount Oeta builds. Mortal light dares not, Philoctetes shepherd steps. Hero bow given, flame consumes. Death reborn. Zeus Olympus lifts immortality grants. Hebe youth, goddess marries. Hero god becomes. Labours. Grief, guilt, heroism, measure others' story remembered. Heracles shrines, games, men hearts, mortal greatness dream. Visual moment 4, Heracles lion cave strangle, fur matted bloodied, muscles bulging, sweat slicked, Hydra heads writhing, cauterized stumps smoking acrid, arrows dipped venom glistening, Cerberus dragged surface, head snapping foam flecked, chains clanking iron cold, breathe destiny's rhythm deep soul, inhale labour's defiant sweat, exhale poison's burning bite irony, discomfort yields empathetic reflection, strength body, Theseus symbolizes, palace city lore, people blood-bound, Athens rises shoulders, Athena worships remembers king bones built, long Troy burned titans fell, voyage unlike quest continents, gods bound heroes brotherhood, ends betrayal exile, dragons oaths, kings usurped thrones reclaimed, center Jason Prince exiled childhood, hero vengeance slow fire groomed, tale Iolcus coastal Thessaly kingdom, father usurped uncle Peleus power worshipped, boy rise fears, birth kill seeks, Athene forewarned infant smuggles, secret raised centaur Chiron trainer Achilles Asclepius fate's sons, Jason wild strong grows, honey knowledge fed, limbs hunting hardened, mind kings fallen risen songs, years pass, returns one sandaled Anorus river crossed, old woman carries, Hera disguise tests, sandal muddy current lost, city enters, Peleus one-shoe stranger pales oracle warned, Jason bold not foolish, speaks plain, Aeson son rightful heir. Peleus shrewd strikes not open, feigns welcome tests prove worthy, golden fleece Colchis far retrieve, crown yield, ram fleece Phrixus flown sea, Colchis safety sacrifice gratitude, gold fire fleece oak, sacred grove nailed, serpent's shadow guarded, king eats Helios sun watched, no Greek gone returned Jason accepts, heroes summons time greatest join, volunteers glory seek Heracles Orpheus lyre, Atalanta huntress, Castor Pollux, Zeus sons, Meliga, Theseus Zetes Calais, north wind winged, 50 all, Argo ship Athena guidance Argus built, prow, Dodona sacred oak prophecy speaks, Ship tale character warnings guiding fate. Sail East Shore's Tempest's legend. Trials men, not monsters first. Lemnos women, husbands slain rule. Jason Hypsipyl queen, lies sons begets never grown. Thrace blind seer Phineas harpies food fouling tormented. Winged Boreds drive off. Phineas prophecy clashing rocks path cliffs jaws slamming passes. Advice dove release. Tail feather loses only. Argo full speed follows. Rock's stern catch barely passage still after. Sea dares respect. Colchis fire iron land reach. Eats kills not sight Jason stranger sacred. Ancient world but fleece grants tasks 3. Fire-breathing bulls yoke. Field plow. Dragon teeth sow. Soil warriors defeat rise. Impossibility tests not courage. Gods intervene Eros. Hera urging Aetes' daughter, Medea arrow love strikes. Hecate priestess herbs poison versed. Men untouched moonlight cold, but Jason's sight heart betrays. Potion flame shield gives. Stone hurl. Earthborn warriors teachers turn each other. Fleece serpent never slept leads. Medea spells sings beast slumber sinks. Jason seizes fleece brilliant soft molten gold. Medea flees dark. Eats ships pursues. Lovers time blood by. Medea brother Absyrtus takes. Pieces cuts. Sea scatters. Father stop limbs. Burial gather forces. Argo slips crime magic stained. Return wandering. Scylla Charybdis danger delay lands past. Iolcus length return. Peleus crown yields not. Medea vengeance daughters tricks. Pieces cuts. Boils alive. Rejuvenation spell claims. Horrified people rise. Jason treachery tainted exiled. Corinth flees. Medea uneasy peace years lives. Jason legitimacy seeks Medea cast Corinthian princess marriage chooses. Medea wronged vengeful fury unleashes poison gown bride ash burns. Own sons Jason murders. Flees dragon's chariot Helios grandfather gift. Jason broken Iolcus returns. Final days ruins wanders forgotten. Argo dry docked decaying beneath rests. Beam loose strikes skull. Great hero passes battle glory not silent past bones beneath. Tale endures fleece quest heroes gathering. Love sour greatness undone. Greece enduring myths ambition promise price. Visual moment 5. Argo prow oak whispering prophecy. Waves lapping wooden hull cool and rhythmic. Medea spells singing. Serpent coils relaxing scales shimmering. Jason's skull struck. Beam crashing wood splintered. Eyes glazing final silence. Breathe destiny's rhythm final deep. Soul. Inhale myth's enduring spark. Exhale age's iron weight. Gods. Olympus left not truly. Walk quietly. Book songs. Dreams memories. Tale mortal veil reaches beyond. Dead not. Moved simply. Winds Mount Olympus cold. Torches Delphi ash. Myths remain. Good night. Sleep tight. Let destiny's breath lull you into peaceful dreams.